Hi, everybody. Welcome to Reaction Shots for July of 2018, the year of our Lord, 2000. I am joined, of course, by my beautiful, just ravishing co-host, Michael Huber.
Hello. He is beautiful.
Thank you. Look at that.
Thank you.
The beauty mark and everything.
Yeah. I always play with it. If you watch my videos, I'm always
it's all the time. Yeah. I actually thought, it occurred to me one time, I was like, what would happen if you had it removed? You'd have like phantom mole.
Yeah.
Like you would like try to go for it and be like, I
would not like it.
Yeah.
I gotta keep it.
Gotta keep it.
Keep it around.
And also the no less beautiful, the no less ravishing. Do you Matt or Matthew?
I like both. Let's go with Matthew.
Professional?
Let's go with Matthew.
Matthew
we'll
Walden.
keep it buttoned up today.
So for those who don't know, which is probably everybody, I don't know. Matthew was pre-Kyle and me, I think, Game Trailers. You used to work at Game Trailers.
An older generation of
Older
Game
generation.
Trailers,
a contemporary of your Patrick Morales, your Michael Damiani, your Daniel Bloodworth, your Brandon Jones. But you left. You trained in Bossman, didn't you?
Yeah, I did for a couple weeks there.
So
me and Bossman had a close couple weeks.
Okay, because he came in 2 weeks after I did, so we must have had like a month overlap then. But whatever. But also, you're just like a generally fascinating human being. We bumped into each other at E3 and we talked about your very interesting side projects. I unfortunately had to cut it out of the episode for maybe the funniest reason. Not because the camera stopped working or the sound or anything, but because it kept auto-focusing on someone's butt that was standing right behind us. So it looked really pervy. So this lascivious autofocus. So I had to cut that part out.
I have that effect on a camera.
Yeah.
It's like, let's find something more interesting than this guy.
Off of you. So if this episode is unfocused and is just focused on lightning, then I'm sorry. But yeah, you were doing a bunch of research into cults.
Yeah, that was immediately after Game Trailers. I had one of those big ideas where I have an idea for my life. I'm going to do something important. I'm going to go study cults and join cults and investigate them and write a book about it. So that's why I left Game Trailers. Still not sure if that was the best decision. Looking back upon it, that was maybe not the right call. I told Jeremy Hoffman, wonderful guy, producer of Game Trailers TV. Love him. He's over at Epic Games now. Fortnite. I was like, Fortnite. I love this job so much. I appreciate everything you've done for me, but I got to go write this book. And he's like, okay, do what you got to do.
Okay, man, whatever you say.
So I went off to different cults and hung out with them and studied them for a little while. It's part of my dark, mysterious past.
Was it like, get up in
Get
there.
Up close, yeah.
Was it like the sound of my voice kind of stuff?
That's immediately what I think of.
Or
it was
like,
very similar. When I saw that movie, I was a little disappointed because they hit close to what I was trying to do, but they did a great job of it. Yeah. That was a good movie. I like a woman as a cult leader, like a charismatic woman. Yeah.
That's always the worst when you're working on a project and then someone else comes out with something that's like close enough that you're just like, man.
Yeah. There's room for all of them. There's room for all of them, but yeah.
Generally. We'll see how many more Battle Royale games we can fit in there. Thousands more. But anyways, I hope that you finish it because I would read it.
I would love to. I got too intense into it.
Yeah.
I got into some cults, got a little brainwashed, and it was a bit intense. And I said, you know what? I'm going to put this whole thing on pause for a little while.
Yeah.
Got in over my head, but one day. That's
a whole other podcast. I feel like we need to we need to have a podcast where we just talk to you about all that.
Let's do it.
Because it would be very weird. Let's get into the pre-meat and potatoes. What would that, like the
salad.
Hors d'oeuvres. Yeah, let's get into the salad of the show. Damiani? Just kidding. He's not over there. There's nobody else here. What have you liked recently? / what have you seen recently? It doesn't have to be something that you've liked. Michael Huber?
I've seen it all. I've seen it all. I went to the theater for 4th of July. To escape the heat.
Yeah.
Did a couple double features. Caught up.
What'd you see?
On some stuff. Saw the first Purge.
Oh, no.
Loved it. Big fan of the Purge. One of those easy franchises to judge by its cover.
Yeah.
But it definitely goes into social commentary and, political commentary. And I really loved them. It's a prequel. So the stakes aren't as high as the other ones. The original trilogy has really good escalating stakes. First one is in a house. Second one is in a city about straight up revenge. And the third one is by far my favorite. It's about stopping the purge, protecting the president. I always forget her name in real life. Juliet from Lost. She's amazing.
Oh, yeah.
And she's an Expanse
She's
now.
an Expanse, yeah.
She's the president in Purge 3, and it's about Frank Grillo trying to, like, get her out to, like, because they, like, try to come and kill her to, like, because they want the Purge to keep going.
A white president. How novel.
So, like, it's really good. But the first Purge was cool. Again, the stakes weren't as high, but I really cared about the characters and wanted everyone to live, and that's, like... I always find that when I see horror movies... The horror movies I end up loving the most, by far, are ones where I just want the main characters to live through it.
Right.
And The Purge does that for me.
Yeah, something's gone wrong if you're like, I don't care if anybody lives or dies.
Yeah.
Like, I'm mad at these people.
Yeah. Like, Friday the 13th is a little different because it's like I'm rooting for Jason.
Right.
But
He's the hero.
Yeah.
Or heroine, I guess.
But in, like, you know, normal horror movies, I like rooting for the people. So,
yeah.
I saw that, liked it. Saw Incredibles 2. That was another one.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
It was good. You didn't like it?
I didn't hate it. Have you seen it?
I haven't. I heard there were some kind of weird political messages.
I mean, it's definitely like, that's part of what I was kind of like, all right, because it takes place in 1962, you know, and the political message that whoever you said that could be referring to could either be like gender politics stuff where it's like women can do it too, the dad can stay at home, and it's like yeah we know, we got it, like I know it's set in the 60s but like still tired. But like probably what they were talking about is like turn off the TV, go outside. I didn't think it hammered on it that hard, but
no, the main villain.
It's a little weird that they didn't put like epilepsy warnings on it because there's like straight up just like flashing.
Oh, and mine did. My theater did.
Well, now they did.
Yeah.
But when it came out, it was like everyone was getting kind of mad about it. But yeah, I don't know. I just thought like the plot line was very similar to the first one.
Yeah, it's
like almost exactly the same except swapped.
The reason I hesitated a bit when I was like I liked it was because there were moments when I zoned out.
Right,
and that's bad. You know, I thought it could have been like 15 minutes shorter.
Absolutely.
So,
also, it's a little weird because before, I don't know about your screening, but in my screening, it started with a live action video of all of the actors.
Yeah.
These birds are going for it.
Yeah, it was weird.
But like all the actors saying like, movies are hard to make. We know it's been 14 years, but it's worth the wait. Like first they had to write it, and then they had to rewrite it. And then they had to, you know, draw the storyboards. Yeah. And then they had to cast it, and we had to voice it. And this is all before we started animating it. And it's just like, why are you doing this?
For
like,
the kids?
So they open with an apology?
Yeah, it opens with an apology, but also, like, it's weird, and it raises the stakes. It writes a check that the movie, I don't think, cashed.
But, like, it did take an absurdly long time for it to come out. It's weird.
But, like, that video was like, don't worry, 14 years. All of those 14 years went into making this the greatest movie of all time. And I'm like, this is came out the next year sequel. Yeah. Like, this is a rehash of the first movie sequel that kind of just goes straight to DVD.
Yeah, it
wasn't that bad, but
it's not that bad, but it's definitely not one of my favorite Pixar movies.
Right.
You know,
whereas
like,
Incredibles 1 is one of my
favorite.
Of course.
Yeah. And a sequel like Finding Dory randomly is like the greatthing ever made. I love Finding Dory
3.
Toy Story 3.
Which I have a feeling may come up again later today.
Top tier sequels.
Yeah. Anything else you saw?
Yeah, I saw Jurassic World.
I saw it. Did you see it?
No, I have not
I
seen
enjoyed
Jurassic
it.
World.
I really enjoyed it.
There's something freeing about the Jurassic World movies to me where it's like, because you go in knowing that they're going to be so bad that I had a blast.
I came out and I looked over to my friend and I'm like, that movie had the most Hollywood logic of all time. So many moments where you're just like, well, that doesn't make any sense.
Right.
Or, like, what? Like, when they're escaping, just scenes where things are way too easy.
Right.
You know?
And, like, awkward spatial relationships.
A lot of...
Where it's like, you're outrunning a volcano right now that in the other shot was right behind you, but now you're okay.
Lots and lots and lots of those moments a ton. But I really enjoyed it. I like the action. I liked doubling down on weaponizing dinosaurs. I love that idea. It has not been fully explored. Like, they've teased it so long.
Well, it's because they keep killing the monster ones.
Yes, I'm ready for the next one to be full on. I'm ready for the next one to be full on, like, weaponized dinos. I'm ready for that.
We need like cyber dinos.
Cyber dinos.
That'll be the fourth.
Half
Jurassic
dinos,
World.
half humans.
Oh yeah.
Like
that can speak. Like actually go, Alan.
Yeah.
Like
Alan.
Gremlins 2, when the guy comes out with glasses.
Yeah. Alan.
Let's get weird.
I just
Also-
watched Jurassic Park the other day again.
The first
like
one?
2 days ago. Yeah.
First
so
one's
good.
10, dude.
So good.
10 out of 10.
Ugh. Threw
Also,
it on just to, like, for like some background noise and ended up watching just the whole thing.
nice. Jurassic World, they're assholes because of the Brontosaurus. I'm just gonna leave it at that. It's unnecessary.
Oh right. Oh yeah.
So uncalled for.
Just emotional manipulation.
Yeah. Like,
Also, I'm
straight
I'm
up.
still tilted about BD Wong being a bad guy. So in the first one,
Yeah. What the hell?
in Jurassic World or Jurassic Park, you know, he's just a fun scientist.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He's been corrupted, dude.
Yeah.
He's like too
Power.
close. He's power
Yeah,
hungry.
Yeah.
Wants to be God.
Yeah. He's the anti Ian Malcolm, I guess. Anyways, anything else?
I think that's it. I'm pretty sure.
It's good enough.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it. That's it. A lot of movies.
Matthew Walden, what have you seen / liked / hated recently?
My good friend's birthday, we went to go see Ant-Man and Wasp.
Yeah.
Which,
Oh, yeah, that's what I saw.
I saw
my
that.
friend's really into Ant-Man. I'm not so into Marvel. Like, I'm a little, like, hesitant on Marvel movies. There's some I love, like Guardians of the Galaxy,
One?
the recent Thor.
Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah, all of them. I like the funny ones. Those
Yeah,
generally
yeah,
work
yeah.
for me. And I like Ant-Man and Wasp.
It's
I
a
liked
funny
it better
one.
than the first one.
I'd say it would
Yeah.
qualify as a funny one. I also liked it better than the first one.
There's a funny
Yeah, I
truth
like it more.
serum gag.
Yeah,
I don't want to ruin that. That was my
Peña-
favorite part
Michael
of it.
Peña across the
Yeah.
board was so funny in it. Oh man. Yeah.
I've also, do TV shows count on what
Yeah,
are you saying?
absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I finished second season of Glow.
Oh.
Gorgeous
Nice.
Ladies of Wrestling.
Yeah.
On season 2.
It's great. Season
haven't
2 I
finished
like
season
better than the
1
first
yet.
one.
Cool.
It's funny. You know, the comedy's not as tight as I would love it to be, but it's good vibes. Like the
Yeah,
show, I
yeah.
love what they're doing. The characters are really enjoyable and lovable,
Yeah.
and the wrestling has this kind of like fun, loose punk rock attitude.
Yeah.
And then Mark Maron is amazing in season 2. I don't want to
Oh,
give
really?
away where his character arc goes, but you're like, this guy is a horrible human being, and then all of a sudden he gives you these moments where you're like, oh,
Yeah,
I actually
love
kind of
that.
love you. Yeah.
that.
I mean, he's the perfect actor for that kind of a guy. I feel like. Yeah.
It's good.
Those are the
Anything
two big
else?
ones recently.
That's it?
Well,
Anything else?
I've been rewatching Black Lagoon, this
What's
anime
Black Lagoon?
series.
Whoa.
I keep trying to find anime series that I'll love because the ones that I do like, they're like my favorite things in the world.
Right.
But that's like 2% of anime, and the rest
Yeah.
like I turn off after
What
5
are
minutes.
your big animes?
Black Lagoon I really like. I like
Okay.
Gurren Lagann. I
Okay.
like Samurai Champloo.
Yeah.
But Black Lagoon is about
What about
these.
Cowboy Bebop?
Oh, of course.
Obviously.
Absolutely. You
Okay.
have to love
All
that
right.
one. But
That's
Black
something
Lagoon
I
is these
answer.
smugglers.
Okay.
It's like, sort of like bounty hunters, smugglers. They're like a ragtag. It's very Cowboy Bebop in the
Okay.
sense that
Yeah.
these guys take up odd jobs, and there's sort of this female assassin who's the leader of their group, and she's
Sweet.
great at jumping around and shooting guns. But it has this kind of
Sweet.
really dry, world-weary sense of humor, and it's really political.
Dude.
It travels around the world and gets really into each country's politics, and there's really nothing else like it. So I've been rewatching it to see if it holds up, and I love it. I'm really
That sounds
into it.
really
Yeah.
cool.
Highly
I'm gonna
recommend.
have to check that out. Yeah.
Excellent.
Dang. Anything else you want to talk about?
For recent things, let me look at my list here. Hereditary.
Oh.
I
too
didn't
afraid.
like Hereditary.
You didn't like it?
I loved the first half.
You're
the
like the
first half,
first
I was like,
person
this is
I've
going to be a
ever
great
heard.
movie. And then the second half fell apart for me.
Really?
It-
Some the people that don't like it, there's a very specific reason. So
I wanted to love it so
I
much.
assume-
I haven't seen it yet.
yeah.
I saw the reviews, and the reviews were like, this movie will bruise your soul, and after you watch it, you'll want to die. And when I see reviews like that, I'm like, this sounds like my type of movie. Give it to me. Bruise my soul.
Hence
and,
why I asked you to be on this episode.
And Hereditary, it looked like it was going to handle the subject of mental illness and families in an interesting way. And then it doesn't. It
Drop the
handles it
ball.
in kind of like a boring old way. For me,
that's
that's
a
what I
bummer.
felt. But there are good things about it.
What was the one? Oh, what is it? Lights Out or whatever, where it's about depression and like the like answer at the end of the movie is like depressed people should die because they're a burden on their family.
Was the lights out? I like barely remember that
I don't.
movie.
Yeah, I don't know. It's one of those, but I was like,
I remember hearing about it.
But it was it was like
yeah.
one of those movies where it's like you took the exact wrong approach to this. You were just wrong on it. Apparently, I don't remember which movie it was.
I remember it being like.
Sorry, apologies to Lights Out if it's not that one.
I remember being lukewarm about that movie. So,
Yeah. So didn't like Hereditary.
Didn't like Hereditary. It's interesting. I'll give it that. It's interesting and well directed.
I'm curious because like
Well
everyone is
acted.
like,
Yeah.
this is the most horrifying, grotesque moment I've ever, whatever, and I'm like, whatever, I don't know.
There's some
I haven't
graphic
seen it.
imagery.
There's like 2 jump scares. I know you're not big into
I
jump
don't
scares.
like
Yeah.
jump scares.
There's like 2 of them.
Couple
And there's
jump
one that's
scares.
funny where it will make you laugh because you jumped.
Okay,
You're like,
okay.
I can't believe I jumped at something that small.
Like
Yeah.
I liked The Witch. I saw Quiet Place the other day. I liked that. Wasn't too scary. I'm working my mind up to seeing It, because It actually is one of the movies that wrecked me. One that scarred me for.
Oh,
life.
the original one. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, the first half.
Yeah.
Let's mute that. Beep.
Update your driver, buddy.
It always wants me to update drivers. I'm like, I just updated those drivers. What's going on over here?
It's almost Seinfeld.
Yeah.
You ever have a driver you didn't update?
Yeah. Why do people have drivers?
I like the old drivers.
I updated my Premiere. Now it doesn't work anymore. Anyways, you done with what you saw?
And that concludes.
And that
what I was supposed to
concludes.
say.
I just watched last night. I watched Sharp Objects. The
Nice.
Oh,
premiere,
I really
series
want to see
premiere.
it.
Yeah,
I loved it.
for sure.
It's really cool. It's doing
Gillian Flynn.
Yeah, Amy Adams is doing great in it. Like, it does really cool filmic stuff. Like, I'm pretty sure 100% of the soundtrack, at least in the first episode, is diegetic, meaning it is in the world. Like, someone is playing music, and that's why you're hearing it. It does, like, super cool, just, like, filmmaking stuff where, like, memories, like, inhabit the real space, and, like her younger version of herself will, like, walk through the scene.
Yeah.
And stuff, and then like in the next shot she'll be standing where young her was, and it's like, oh man,
I'm
it's
into
so,
it.
it's
Sold.
so
I wanna
cool.
see
It's
it.
good.
Yeah.
Slow
Like-
burn.
Yeah, and did you see it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and like there are like hidden words and stuff and things. Like I'm pretty sure when she's like kind of drunk and about to drive somewhere, the stereo says wrong.
Yeah.
Stuff like that, just like little. I think there are going to be like all kinds of little things to pick up on. I'm very excited for that series. I really enjoyed it. Finished Westworld.
Why?
Which was fine. Just kind of cuz,
Not a Westworld fan. I dropped out.
Only with
It's,
Ian
no,
because
I-
Ian like watches it out of disdain. It's
I know,
not like
no.
why would you watch that? It's more of why
I feel
would
like
you?
it made Ben really angry. It made me kind of just go like, okay.
It made me angry. There's a certain cruelty and sadism to the
a
show that
sadistic
doesn't
show.
seem like it has a point besides HBO saying, oh, we're known for like extreme violence. How can we top it? And it makes
Yeah.
me feel kind of miserable watching it.
Yeah,
So I had to
it's-
stop watching it.
Also, like, it's definitely pretentious, and it's like way more like complicated than it needs to be.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny where it's like a very simplistic story idea. It's basically just your standard Michael Crichton idea where it's like, what if there was a theme park and then the thing that it's supposed to do escapes?
Yeah.
Go. Like, easiest idea.
I bailed out after season 1 because I just didn't like any characters.
Yeah.
I need
dude,
someone
Get this.
to root
Season
for.
2
like,
unmoors the characters even harder. Like, Dolores, for all of season 2, you're just like, why? Why, though?
Like I love Ed Harris, but like even him in season 1, I just like couldn't get attached. So I watched all of season 1, put myself
Yeah.
through 10 hours of a show, and it was
Yeah.
over. And I was like, it was fine, but I need an emotional connection.
I feel
need
like
it if I'm going to commit that many hours of my life to something.
there are interesting things going on in Westworld, but it's more like conceptual stuff than anything like nitty gritty. Like I'm happy I watched it just so I can like think about 2 of the ideas that they posited that they
That's
never
cool.
really focused on with any granularity until the very end of the last episode, where it's like, oh, okay, that's what this is. But like, yeah, I could have
Was
read
the
the
samurai
wiki.
stuff cool?
Yeah, it was alright.
Could
Like
have been better.
Blade of the Immortal was more fun. 13 Assassins is just way better.
I love Blade of the Immortal. I like that better than 13 Assassins. I like it.
Really?
It's weird because it's Takashi
It's a
Miike
different
restrained.
vibe.
It's like the most restrained I've
13
ever seen him
Assassins.
in most of Blade of the Immortal. In terms of its like fucked up content. Like
Oh.
Takashi Miike always has some moment
Yeah,
in his
yeah.
movie where I'm like,
But it's
I'm
like
not cool with this, but I still want to
Torrents
see
of
his
blood.
movie.
Like
yeah,
I
yeah.
think that 13 Assassins is much more restrained.
Huh.
Like
I
it
think
has
so, too.
definitely
I think
some
so, too.
violence, but it's not like glorified violence. It's more realistic.
I was into the mystical warrior shit.
Yeah.
The Blade of the
I mean,
Immortal.
don't get me
like
wrong.
that like component
I like
of
them
it.
both.
Yeah.
I like them both. I saw A Quiet Place and Ant-Man. I mentioned those. I like The Quiet Place. If you want to hear me and Damiani and Jones talk about Ant-Man and the Wasp, check out the patron exclusive spoiler mode that we did on Ant-Man and the Wasp.
A
We
lot
talked
of
about it for like an
shield
hour.
call-outs.
Oh,
Gets me excited.
I was bummed that you couldn't be on the
I know.
spoiler mode.
I saw it yesterday. Any time, or the day before. I saw it like Monday.
Days are hard.
Any time shield is referenced in the Marvel universe, I'm just like,
Yeah,
I love it.
he loves Shield. What can I say?
I do. Not just the show, just like shield in general.
The concept
It's awesome.
of Shield. I'm very
Yeah.
excited for Captain Marvel. I think it'll be cool.
Me too.
Again, I like
Oh
the
my
Marvel
God.
movies just kind of because why the hell not? I
Oh,
guess
Captain Marvel.
you know, just like something to do,
I'm so ready.
something to burn $16 on. You know, gotta have it. Anyways, let's talk about movies that wrecked us.
All right.
This
here we
can
go.
mean, yeah, you are uniquely
excited.
situated for this. These could be things that made you sad, terrified you as a child, made you afraid of going down or upstairs, for example. Didn't want to look at a sewer grate, or shut your eyes. Or just like made you not trust people for a long time. Like any kind of like weird, Some examples of my own are like Straw Dogs really got me. Sam Peckinpah, man does not trust women. And like Straw Dogs, saw that when I was like 14, just starting to date, and I was just like, ugh, like, ugh, what's happening? Probably like had a bad influence on me. Summer of Sam, kind of similar.
Mm-hmm.
The Spike Lee?
Yeah. Similar like infidelity stuff really got to me in my formative years, for no real reason. I don't know. Event Horizon really scared the ass out of me.
Oh my God, Sam Neill's face in that one moment.
Oh God.
I
That
rewatched it this
Really?
past week. Just 'cause I hadn't seen it. I saw it in the theaters when
I've
it
been
first
afraid
came
to
out.
rewatch it.
I think the thing with that movie is my family, we all went together, and my family's sort of like a conservative religious family, and I think they were expecting some kind of like Star Trek caper. There's just some
yeah.
kind of like adventure in outer space, and all of a sudden they start quoting Latin, and people's eyes are bleeding, and there's
Yeah.
some satanic shit.
Yeah.
And my parents were like, "We're leaving," and I was like, "I'm staying. I'm into."
How old were you at the time?
I mean, I think I was like 14,
Oh,
so
man.
old enough where I
Yeah,
could kind
yeah.
of like roll with it.
Put your foot
but
down?
it's scary. It was scary.
It
and
scared the
fucked up, and
hell out of me.
It feels like Dead Space. If you go back
Yeah.
and revisit
Totally.
it now, it
Totally.
seems like the designers of Dead Space watched it and were like, "How can we recreate this particular segment in
Yeah.
the game?" Yeah.
Yeah, terrified the hell out of me. It was. I remember the moment I was at my friend Dustin's house. We could have watched Money Talks or Event Horizon.
Money Talks. Is that with like Melanie Griffith?
No, well, maybe Chris Tucker. I think.
Okay.
I don't. I'm only
I'm
remembering.
thinking of Milk Money. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
yeah. Different, very different vibes. I think it's Chris Tucker. Maybe it's somebody else. But yeah, there was like a choice moment, and I was like, "Well, let's watch Event Horizon," and I like regretted it. I didn't sleep for like months after.
Yeah.
that.
If you watch it now, the CGI is, I mean, you got to forgive them. It was probably
Yeah,
low
yeah,
budget
yeah.
from 20 years ago. It's so unbelievable and poorly executed that it will erase any of the negative vibes you had originally from the movie. It's like an antidote. If you go back
Okay.
and watch it now, you're like, how did I ever buy
It's like
into this?
Getting intentionally bitten by the same.
It's like a
snake.
bottle. It's, there's no gravity in outer space, and there's like a bottle that's been created in CGI, and it floats towards the camera, but they don't really have the capability to change the perspective. So the bottle's the same size as it gets closer to the hallway. And I think one of the things of like a movie destroying you is you almost have to kind of buy into the reality for those 2 hours.
Yeah.
And now it's impossible to believe anymore. So
All
it's kind
right.
of a good feeling to go back
Maybe
and
I
watch
should
that.
go back.
Yeah,
It's funny.
Confront like tilt at that windmill of my youth, like to slay that dragon.
It's funny because it feels like such a childhood movie. You said you saw it with your friend or whatever, and I had a
Yeah.
similar thing where it was like we watched Event Horizon at like a sleepover.
Yeah.
A couple of us were just so freaked out.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
horrifying.
Yeah.
I was
Definitely.
so
yeah.
terrified. Oh yeah, we should mention before we get too hard into this, like, the subject matter is intense of this episode, probably. So, like, things may come up, like sexual assault, murder, that kind of stuff, in these movies that, we might talk about that stuff. So just be forewarned, Straw Dogs, for example, has very intense sequences that involve that sort of thing. Grave of the Fireflies is an anime that just makes you want to die. Mm-hmm. Not a friendly movie.
No.
Speaking of wanting to die, in researching for this episode, I was like, you know what? I'm going to brush up on some old stuff I've seen, see some new stuff I've been meaning to watch. So every day for the past week, I watched a movie that I thought would intentionally wreck me. and it was hard. It was hard.
What did you watch this week?
It was not as easy as I thought it would be. I'm a mess now. I stand in front of or sit in front of you like a withered husk of a human.
Man.
Yeah.
What did
but
you
I
watch
did it for the
this week?
cause.
What did you watch?
I saw Elle, the Paul Verhoeven movie.
Oh, okay. I've never seen that.
Really fucked up. It's got Isabelle Huppert in it, who's an amazing actress. She's dynamite. She's a game designer who has to deal
this movie looked so good.
with threats of violence, really graphically portrayed violence.
Like 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah,
I wanted to watch that.
That movie is such an impossible movie to like, but I'm fascinated by it. My mind keeps getting drawn back to it because the character she plays is so amazing. Like, you're rooting for her because she's gone through some serious shit and she just bears it with such dignity. But I wish that character were in a better movie. It doesn't feel like Paul Verhoeven as a director is the one who should be tackling the subject of here's what it's like for a woman to experience a violent assault. Let me portray that graphically. I don't know if he was well equipped to do that. Yeah. But the character herself is fast, and the actress is just phenomenal.
Did she win for that, or she got nominated? I know, at least.
I don't know.
It might have been like an independent award or something. But yeah, I remember her, I think. But yeah, Paul Verhoeven, not your go-to guy. For, like, if you need to like make an 80s like social commentary, like skewer capitalism, sure. Not nuanced. Yeah, no.
Isabelle Huppert also was in another movie that wrecked me like 3 or 4 years back, The Piano Teacher, the Haneke film. Have you seen that one?
I have not.
God,
I like Haneke.
Yeah, I love him.
God, that's his roughest movie to me.
Really?
In
I've
my
heard
mind,
that.
of the ones I've
that.
seen, and she plays a very similar character. She's pretty unlikable in The Piano Teacher, but God, you don't want those terrible things to happen to her.
I heard she's like very severe in that.
And I think this movie is a good example of what the point of movies that wreck us could be, because some directors set out to make movies that will make you feel terrible. And as I was watching a bunch of these, I'm like, why do we put ourselves through this? Like, what's the point of making or creating a terrible movie? Mm-hmm. And The Piano Teacher was a terrible feeling movie where I was like depressed for a week after. But it made me recalculate my morals a little bit to see this character who's very unlikable go through terrible things, and to be able to have two distinct categories in your mind. Yes, this person's bad. No, this person doesn't deserve terrible things happening to them. And that influenced my decisions in life going forward. Like, I had to make some tough moral calls just in jobs. And I was like, okay, I don't like this human being. Terrible things are happening to them. I need to act. Right. And that's something that's really cool, is that if you can put yourself through the pain of watching like a devastating movie, it can work on you a little bit and change you.
Heck yeah.
That's on the good side.
You solved the episode. See you guys later. No, you're totally right. What then say you about another Haneke movie, Funny Games, which he remade in English, shot for shot, whatever, where I think like the intent of the movie. Have you both seen it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The intent of the movie, I think, is just to punish the audience for liking it. You know, like, my money is like, if you view that movie as a comedy, like if you let yourself be in on the joke, then it's kind of a fun time. But like, if you're allowing it to affect you in that way, it's just miserable. It's punishing intentionally.
I saw it in the theater, and
so did I.
Droves of people left.
Yeah.
It's one of the few movies I've seen where people just walked out en masse.
Yeah.
It's a little pedantic and moralizing.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I sort of liked its lesson it was trying to give. I feel bad. My wife watched it with me, and there's a point in the movie where some very human interaction happens between, what's his name, Tim Roth and his wife after some terrible tragedies occurred. And to me, that was like the most human moment in the film. Yeah. And my wife was in the bathroom during that moment, and she came back, and so she saw the miserable stuff at the beginning, the miserable stuff at the end, and kind of missed the only redeeming part of the movie.
Yeah. The part that like holds it all together.
Yeah, she hates the film, and I don't blame her, because it's a rough ass movie.
You're meant to hate it.
Yeah.
It's like Spring Breakers. Like you're not meant to like
Never saw
the things happening or the people in this movie. Spring Breakers is a very interesting movie because like it's two halves. Have you seen it?
I stopped watching it.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
The first half of the movie wants you to hate that movie actively. And then James Franco shows up and the movie shifts. And it's still like not likable, but like I do think it's an interesting exercise. Sort of like Shutter Island, where I think that it's intentionally poorly made in the first like 30 minutes to make you question the reality of what's happening. Because like Shutter Island in the theater, I was like, why is this ADR so obviously bad? Why is the editing so jarring? Why is the green screen so terrible? And I'm like, this has to be intentional. And I'm pretty sure it was.
Yeah.
Or that movie is garbage.
I think both.
Yeah,
I think it's intentional and it's
it could be
garbage.
both. Yeah, for sure it could be both. But yeah, anyway, Haneke. Cachet is one of my favorite movies.
You
all
know what
time.
we're speaking about Haneke. The person who wrote The Piano Teacher, I can't remember her name. She's an Austrian writer, Elfriede Jelinek, I think. She's won a lot of awards.
Yeah.
But I heard that, I'm a glutton for punishment. I heard one of her books was one of the most depressing books ever made. It was called Wonderful, Wonderful Times, which is almost like a dare.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, we're going to give you something heavy. We're calling it Wonderful, Wonderful Times ironic.
Yeah.
You're in for some rough shit.
Yeah.
And I was reading this book on a plane, and I was telling my wife next to me, I was like, you know what? People said this book is depressing, but I can handle this. This isn't too bad. And then I got to the end of the book, and then my jaw really dropped, like actually physically in real life, and I couldn't speak for the next 20 minutes. We were deboarding the plane, and I just walked along like a zombie, and I was wrecked. I was officially. I can't recommend it to anybody.
Dang.
Miguel from Game Trailers.
Game Trailers,
He was talking to me about the book, and he's like, that sounds great. And I'm like, trust me, you don't want anything to do with this. Audience, don't take my recommendation.
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
read Wonderful, Wonderful Times.
Have you
are
read
warned.
A Little Life?
Yes, that book
Okay.
is like an endless tragedy,
Yeah,
isn't it?
that's what I
It's
hear.
700 pages of heartbreak.
Oh my
yeah.
God.
My wife
It's-
read that one
I
because
like it.
she also is a glutton for punishment and likes like dark, sad stuff.
The thing
Yeah.
about
And that one is like brutal.
we don't want to get too far away from movies, but the thing about A Little Life and other movies that wreck us, I think sometimes if you have a really depressing movie and you have little moments of kindness in them,
Yeah.
that almost is
It's like a
heartbreaking because the
beacon.
contrast
Yeah.
is there.
Actually, that there's a comment. I have lots of comments. We had great engagement on this. I will not get to everyone. Given how much we're talking already, I think maybe I won't get to many of these at all. But I'm looking for who it was right now. But someone brought up. Oh yeah, Andrew Bailey brought up Bride of Frankenstein. And I this scene had a huge impact on me too, and it's similar to what you were just saying. The part when the monster befriends. It might have been a Frankenstein, original Frankenstein, whatever. The part where in the Frankenstein mythos where the monster befriends that old blind man and like everything's terrible, he's being hunted by the villagers, but this blind man doesn't know he's a monster, so he just becomes friends with him, but like it doesn't go well, you know? And like, yeah, little moments like that make everything just worse around it, kind of.
Yeah.
One that got me was 12 Years a Slave. Did you see that
I never
one?
saw that
It's
one.
a beautiful movie, and the writing's incredible. Like the
Stephen
writing is
Queen.
really like high art, and the actors deliver it very well.
Yeah.
But
Love that
he
movie.
goes through like all the brutalities of slavery, and there's a moment at the end where the main character Solomon.
Oh my God, when he
He
apologizes,
apologizes.
dude.
I'm sorry. I did that thing where my chin started wobbling. I was like, oh boy, I'm gonna start crying. You know when
It's
you're trying to hold
legit,
back
like,
tears? It's the apology.
One of my favorite
Yeah.
moments
Oh,
in
God.
movies. It's like, why are you
I still think
apologizing?
about this
oh
all
my
the
God,
time.
you were
Yeah.
just like brutally held captive and tortured for like a decade, maybe more. It's
Wait,
like,
the
main character, he finally
the
gets like
escaped slave is
yeah, he-
apologizing?
He's
Yeah.
apologizing to his family.
to his family.
Oh,
'cause he-
oh,
He's like, I'm
oh.
sorry it took me so long to
Yeah.
get back to you. I was
Oh.
like, oh no.
Okay, now I understand. So
Yeah.
I misunderstood. I thought it was like the plantation owner was apologizing.
Oh, no.
And I'm like,
No.
screw you, dude.
Yeah,
No, there's no coming back
Yeah,
from
there's
that.
no coming
apology.
back. No amount of apology. Okay, now I understand. Yeah,
Oh,
that sounds
dude.
intense.
I'm sad now.
Have you ever, since we're off movies for a second, have you listened to The Wasp Factory by Ben Frost?
No, what is that?
It's a neo opera, I guess, but there's an album of it. It's based on a book maybe called The Wasp Factory, but it's about a like psychotic, misogynistic kind of homicidal young boy. But the musical opera, whatever, his internal monologue is stylized by they're only women's voices in the thing, and so like his internal monologue is like these two women. It's very interesting. There's a song called "My Greatest Enemies Are Women and the Sea." It's pretty intense. You should give it a listen. Anyway, and it'll wreck you. I listened to it twice in a row on a plane, and it like unmoored my concept of reality for a little while. I was just like, I'm really unsettled right now, but like I like this. Like it's really weird. I feel gross. Have you seen? Speaking of anime and things that wrecked us, have you seen Berserk? The trilogy of movies,
God.
The Golden Age arc.
No, so is this the recent ones that came out? 'Cause I know the original one. That's
they're the movies. I don't remember when they came out. There's a new anime series on.
Yeah,
now.
they did like a trilogy of movies, which is like 1 or 2 of the arcs, and then now there's like a new anime.
Arc,
the movies are incredible.
The movies are 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Oh, they're good. Okay,
they're
great.
incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Incredible. Also,
I was hesitant to watch them just because they came along. So
amazing.
Cool.
Some of the best stuff I've ever seen, but like also some of the most disturbing stuff. I hesitate to even talk about it, but like I just jumped in not knowing anything about it because I knew that it inspired Dark Souls. And by the end of the third movie, this almost never happens to me. I was sitting there with my mouth agape. I was just like, for like 20 minutes. The whole last movie, I was just like,
I wish they made more.
Phenomenal. You're gonna love it.
Cool.
Yeah,
I can't
you're
wait.
gonna love it. Anyways, as I said, we have like 1 million billion comments, and like the first bunch I gathered here are just like people saying movies that wrecked them, and I thought it'd be fun to just kind of go through people's list really quick.
Let's do it.
Kind of just hear like to kind of like populate. Oh, and Hannibal, the TV series. I forgot to mention that. Like
only show that like visually
disturbing
gets
show.
me.
Yeah.
Because visuals never get me.
Yeah.
I'm a stone cold killer with visuals. You can't get me, And Hannibal, 3 times I think over the course of that series, I like did one of these.
Yeah. Did you ever watch it?
I can't handle serial killer shit.
It's
Totally
Oh
other
my God.
podcast, but encounters with real life serial killers for me makes it impossible for me to watch.
Cult background.
I mean,
dude,
it's a whole other story, and I'm not sure if you'd classify them as serial killer, but someone who's killed multiple people in a similar fashion. That to me means
Have you watched Mindhunter?
No, I can't watch
Too
any
intense.
of that unless it's accidental.
Yeah.
I refuse to watch a serial killer movie because it like bugs me out too much.
Movies where people like accidentally kill people, like A Simple Plan,
Yeah.
like movies like that wreck me too. Where I'm just like, because I empathize with the characters, so I'm just like sitting there thinking like, oh my God, what would I do in that scenario? I feel terrible right now just off the bat. Oh man,
You call the
Hannibal
cops.
is insane.
Call
No,
them.
yeah. If I ever accidentally, like for real,
Calling the cops.
have you ever seen Search Party?
Oh, I want to watch that TV show.
So depressing.
Yeah, I've heard you talk about it.
It is so depressing. Anyway, so bear with us for a second. I want to, like, people had some really good stuff to say this month. So I, even if it makes us go even longer, I want to hear from the people. I'll try to condense them as much as I can here. I already pared it down, but I'll try to pare it down some more. Rui Mendez brought up The Mist, Frank Darabont's Mist.
Yeah.
Very good ending. Also, Bergman's Autumn Sonata.
Bergman's intense. A lot of Ingmar Bergman's
all
are
of them
serious.
are just,
Cries and Whispers I watched earlier this
never
year.
saw that one.
And that one's that's a brutal movie. A good brutal movie though.
They brought up Grave of the Fireflies. Chang Dong Lee's Poetry, which I've never seen.
Haven't heard of that one.
Yeah, I
No.
hadn't heard of that either.
No.
We'll have to watch it. They also shut it out to Infinity War for being like a blockbuster that can get you.
Oh,
Which I
kids
thought-
were leaving in
tears.
tears, dude.
Weeping
Yeah.
openly.
Yeah.
See, I'm like wired backwards, so like that kind of stuff makes me happy.
I'm just like, yeah, they
where
went
I'm just
there.
like, yeah, go there,
Yeah.
do it, drama, you know?
Yeah.
It's weird because like stuff like Red Wedding and stuff like that, I'm like, yeah, like these are pretend people, I don't care, this is drama, you know? But like, yeah, stuff like Room, I'm just like,
yeah, Room hurts.
all right, Stephen Beaumont, Train Spotting, Requiem for a Dream, American History X, all great
All
examples.
savage movies.
12 Angry Men, which I still haven't seen. Never. That's like a blind spot. for
Yeah,
me.
me too.
Joseph Caruso brought up. A few other people brought up 12 Angry Men. Apparently, my dad tells me all the time there's a, I think Russian version of it just called 12, which I guess is like almost a shot-for-shot remake, except they changed the ending. He says it's really interesting. He says watch 12 Angry Men and then watch that one. Tyler Travis brings up The Seventh Seal.
Another Bergman.
Yep. Dear Zachary, which I don't I don't know that one.
Mm-mm.
He brought up Mysterious Skin, which someone else talks about in more detail in a minute, and Dancer in the Dark. Obviously, like, famously sad. Carl Williams brings up Mother, and a Serbian film.
Oh God, yeah. The descriptions of Serbian film
I
were
never
enough
saw
to
it.
wreck
Yeah.
me, and I was like, I'm never watching
What is
that.
it? Yeah, I've never.
I can't even bring myself to say them. Look up the descriptions of
is it like
or don't look up
Solo?
the descriptions.
Is it like Solo?
It
or something?
sounds worse than that. It sounds like the
Okay.
guy set out to make the most reprehensible film ever made,
'Cause I
and he
definitely-
probably succeeded. No interest in watching it.
I definitely watched Solo, kind of just because everyone was like, it's
the Pasolini
most,
one, right?
Yeah, yeah.
How was
it's
that?
the most messed up movie, is what everyone says.
Did
It's,
it live up to it?
It's very long. It's old enough now that things that would have been like, oh my god, back then are like, yeah. It's obviously it's still very depraved. Lots of like sexual stuff and like fecal stuff, and it's not pleasant. But yeah, mostly by the end of it, I was kind of just like, I kind of just felt like I'd wasted my time. You know,
There's a certain point where it just becomes like a Marilyn Manson video,
Yeah,
where
yeah.
you get it. You're like, oh, okay, you're really dark.
Right.
I get
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
You're
you're
trying
going
to,
for it.
yeah, bug
it's
me.
like, oh, okay, they're doing toward the end they do like the Mussolini guys, whatever, they do like a conga line while they're like torturing people. That's like the height of its like satire or whatever. Yeah, if I knew more about like the history and stuff of that era and everything, I think probably it would be whatever. David Warren brings up The Dentist, which I'd never heard of.
The Dentist?
Yeah,
Is that like the old like 90s horror movie?
I guess.
Good pick there.
Carlos Delgado brings up Blue Valentine, which I intentionally never watched
Dude.
because apparently it was just like the most difficult relationship movie ever made.
It's a bummer. Yeah. Ryan
Same reason I
Gosling.
never watched Haneke's
Dude,
Amour.
Oh God, Amor is fucked up.
Yeah.
Half Nelson.
Yeah.
Did anyone say Half Nelson?
No one
Oh,
brought
that's
up
another
that.
Ryan Gosling.
I didn't see
it's
Half
a
Nelson on there.
substitute teacher addicted to crack.
Yeah.
Oh, wow,
Yeah.
okay.
And
Sure.
they're doing Captain Marvel. So get hyped.
Wow, intense.
Yeah.
Did they do Short Term 12 also? That's another Brie Larson movie.
I forget. I'm not
I think
sure.
that's Brie Larson.
my
Zachary
God.
Walton brought up The Orphanage.
Nice.
That's your boy.
I love the
Guillermo,
Orphanage.
right?
Produced it.
Oh, he didn't
Yeah.
direct it?
Nope.
That's a good one.
What am I thinking of? Devil's Backbone? Which one did he?
Yeah, Devil's Backbone.
He
He was
directed.
involved in promoting the
Yeah.
orphanage.
Did he direct?
He
Yeah.
produced.
He directed Devil's Backbone, and
Directed,
The
yeah.
Orphanage is a remake of that? Not
No,
really?
no,
Oh,
it's its
okay.
own thing.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
It definitely has some images in there where you're like, I wish I never saw it, and I'm gonna see it in my mind forever from this point on.
Am I
Yeah.
crazy? Is there a Spanish version of The Orphanage and then an English one?
I don't
Am
know
I
if
nuts?
there's an English one. There's definitely it's Spanish
Yeah.
language.
Oh,
right?
okay.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
just
yeah.
Spanish. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
I don't know why I got it confused with something else in my mind. I hadn't heard of this one. Ken Reels brought up Once Upon a Forest. The scarier scenes in this film stuck with me the longest time. It was only until recently I was able to remember the title. Think what if Hanna-Barbera took elements from Don Bluth and it was just as much dark as he would insert. So it's like an animated thing? I have no idea. I've never heard of this.
Never heard of it.
So a lot of weird ones. The animation of like the 70s really unsettles me just kind of in general. Like Wizards, Forbidden Planet, Forgotten Planet.
Oh, I know which one you're talking about. That French one in outer space. Right?
Yeah, yeah,
I love
yeah,
that one
yeah.
because it has its own
I never watched
weird
it.
internal logic. Oh, it's
Oh,
great.
really?
I highly recommend it. It's a little disturbing, but it's good.
Ron Payne and a lot of people brought up Jaws. I liked this one though. Jaws at the drive-in when I was a kid in 1975. Sharks. Luckily, Star Wars came out a few years later and everything was okay again. And the drive-in had great burgers. I like that one. Ms. Razy says Fox and the Hound is the first movie to make them cry. Evan Caitlin, Blair Witch Project. Blair Witch Project was one of the movies from back in the day where this still happens to me. Where just having a movie described to me
Yeah.
freaks me out. I have yet to see It Follows. Don't know if I ever will.
You don't
Oh,
wanna-
my friend directed that movie.
Your
It's
friend
great.
directed it?
Yeah,
I know,
Shout out to
uh,
David Robert Mitchell. He's
So
great.
cool.
He's awesome. And that movie is one of my favorite
Is it-
movies. When I read the script, I was like, you have to make this because this is going to be one of my favorite movies. And it was after he made it.
I know
That's really
I know
cool.
Disaster Piece who made the music, but
Great
Rich
music.
Freeland.
Yeah. The soundtrack's
Movie's
great.
unsettling.
I want to watch it, but like
It's cool. You would like it because it's artsy.
Really?
It's about more things than just scaring you.
Okay.
Yeah,
Because
But
like just
it will
it
scare
being
you.
described to me, I was like looking behind my back, like
Yeah.
trying to walk home. I
Yeah.
was like, ah. Yeah.
Blair Witch.
I love that movie.
Still holds up. I watched it like a few
Blair
years
Witch,
ago.
yeah.
We did Blair Witch in Fortnite. We just like stood in the room staring at the corners.
That's very funny.
Me and my friend, we were just like staring at the corner. These guys came in and just shot us. in
Shot
the
us.
back.
Yeah, I wonder if they got it.
Blair Witch.
Blair Witch. Did you say it? Were you like, Blair Witch,
With
Blair
my
Witch?
friend, yeah, and then
Yo, Blair Witch.
because he's like my horror friend. We see all our horror movies together. He came in and immediately just went into the other corner, just staring.
I'll try to speed this up. Ryan brought up Europa, which I saw and remember being depressed by. Just LVT in general, Lars von Trier. He's another provocateur.
He always makes me angry because I'm like, he's got so much talent, but I never feel like he depresses me for a reason.
Right.
Besides that he's a misanthrope and hates the world.
He's just antagonistic.
Which I get it. We all know the world's fucking dark.
Yeah.
We know that already. Like, show us something in the middle of all that darkness.
Like
That's the purpose of making it.
Like I said earlier, give me one character to root for. That is the crux of all my depressing film love, you know?
I think Antichrist and Melancholia are definitely my favorites of his, I guess, if you could
I like
call them.
Melancholia.
If you could call them that.
Melancolia's
I like
a good one,
Melancholia. He said a joke before Melancholia came out where he said, this is my only movie with a happy ending, which I think is pretty funny.
I like
the planet just gets destroyed.
I like the idea of someone with depression. When the world goes to shit, they would be the only one who could handle it because they're used to feeling terrible.
Yeah.
I could relate to that movie.
Her character in that, she does a great job.
I love Kirsten Dunst.
Dogville, also brought up by Liquid Ender. Alan Canlick brought up Toy Story 3. Toy Story 3, to me, great movie, but the moment where all of them accept death, they're just like, they accept death.
Yeah.
Did you ever see Toy Story 3?
There's
a scene where they're going to be incinerated. They've like fallen into an incinerator, and they have a moment where they're panicking, they're freaking out. They try to get out, they realize they can't, and then they all just hold hands and full on embrace death because they're together. They just look straight into the fire, and they're like, "All right."
Oh wow, that's almost
we're going
Buddhist.
down together.
It's insanity. It's so good. And I heard a story. I don't know if I've ever told you this before, but I heard a story of someone on the internet who cut to credits there and showed their mom that version of the movie.
Yeah.
And then apparently he said, like, for months after, it's just like, I just can't believe those toys. I can't believe they ended the movie that way, you know. And then later he was like, "Mom, all right, there's another half hour to that movie."
So good.
Yeah, Toy Story 3, dude. Also, the ending is equally sad. Bittersweet.
Top tier movie.
Hostel. Minimic brought up Hostel. That one's kind of just like...
Doesn't really wreck me.
Well, those are just like shock torture porn movies.
Yeah. Which never really...
Because they don't have the emotional gravitas.
Exactly.
Caesar Villa brought up Chasing Amy, another relationship falling apart movie.
Yeah,
have any of these... This is going to be a long episode. Have any of these movies... you mentioned like the piano teacher having an impact on your life, changed your life because it made you feel like you had to empathize more. Do you have any other examples of movies like this that did that to you in any way, or did anything like that to you? Changed your life for better or worse?
I mean, a lot of movies, whether they're like sad or not, I love movies because I get to hear people's stories and because I get to empathize with certain situations, and that's what I love most, is taking that away. So it's kind of hard to like parse out, you know, specific examples because I'm always just looking for that in a movie regardless of what it is.
Have you ever what's up?
Oh no, I was just thinking Act of Killing.
Oh.
Do you know this documentary?
Someone else brought that up, actually.
One of the patrons wrote in. Hey, there we go.
You kindly brought up that. Tell us about the Act of Killing.
Act of Killing is a documentary. It may be the most important movie ever made. I might go out on a limb and make that bold claim.
I got to see it.
It's by Josh Oppenheimer. It's produced by Werner Herzog, and
Errol
Morris.
Morris.
Yeah. And it's about genocide in Indonesia, real genocide that happened. It's a documentary, and they take the actual murderers who committed this genocide, soldiers and generals who ordered it, and make them reenact it. Like they give them a budget to put on like a stage production, like almost like a musical. It's really colorful, and they're like, tell us your story of what happened in the war. So these murderers and genocidal criminals sort of glorify themselves in these stage productions. And it's like a 3-hour investigation.
Yeah, what's the guy's name?
Into evil.
The like main crazy psycho guy.
In Indonesia?
No, in the Act of Killing. It's like the main dude. I forget his name.
I can't remember the name.
Yeah, I never saw it.
Yeah, it's really, really intense.
Because they made another one too, right?
They had a follow-up called The Sound of silence,
Yeah.
which shows the victim's perspective, and that one's even more depressing.
Yeah.
But I was in Indonesia recently, like a few months ago, and I was talking about Indonesian history with some people, it was like job related, and then I brought up this movie because I was wondering what they thought about it, and it was not cool. It was not cool for me to bring it up. That movie is banned in Indonesia.
Whoa.
And then me bringing it up, I got the reactions of like, dude, why did you even watch that movie?
Whoa.
Why would you think that's a good movie? Because it's kind of handled indelicately. That's sort of the point of the movie, is to draw out these evil people and let them demonstrate their own evil, which is fascinating to study. But I can imagine if you're in that culture, you don't want to see them put on this like pompous pageantry of all the evil acts they've committed. So it was interesting to go there in real life and talk to real people who have history with that in their family, and they were like, dude, that movie's not cool. I have to say though, the movie really influenced me because you see that these evil people are human beings in a terrible way that puts you on guard, where you're like, no, it's not going to be a monster who does monstrous things. It's going to be a regular person.
Right.
And you have to stand up to regular people who can act charming at times. Like, evil people can act charming and have a normal conversation with you, and they're still capable of doing horrible things.
Probably the most evil ones are the best at it.
Yeah, and that recalibrated all of my thinking about, okay, I need to step up in certain situations. Just because a person has a nice side, if they're doing something bad, it's kind of up to you to make that call of like, this is crossing the line. I need to do something to stop them. So, controversial movie, especially in Indonesia, but it helped me to watch it.
Yeah. God, that sounds intense. I'll have to check that one out.
It's very intense. I saw when it came out.
A couple of people brought up Mysterious Skin. Megan Linhart brought up Mysterious Skin. I never saw that one, actually. This is an interesting topic for me because like a lot of them, if I catch wind of how disturbing a movie is beforehand, oftentimes I won't go. You know? But Mysterious Skin deals heavily with like two people who were like sexually assaulted by a baseball coach when they were kids, you know. Joseph Gordon-Levitt, I think, is one of them. I don't remember who the other one is. But yeah, sounds intense.
Yeah.
Never saw that one.
Kids, there's one, I guess.
Kids.
Like,
oh my God.
Kids.
Oh, the film Kids?
Yeah.
Or the subject
the film
of
Kids
God,
and
Kids is fucked up. Yeah.
Double, actually. There's movie Kids and the subject of kids makes me like want to just take care of everyone and love everyone. You know, I think of what's that movie? Elephant? The school shooting one?
Yeah. That was a Gus Van Sant movie.
Gus Van Sant.
Yeah.
That movie
that one,
wrecked me, just destroyed me.
Man.
Just seeing troubled people get bullied and abused and then take it out on innocent people, that's like the number one thing that just destroys me.
Kids in general, it's just like, if you know, I'm all about protecting any kind of like disenfranchised or like differently abled group, but like kids, you just have to. Did
any of you see You Were Never Really Here, the Joaquin Phoenix
I wanted
movie
to.
that came
I missed
out
it
this
when it was
year?
in theaters.
I have to strongly recommend to never see it because it will break your soul. Which it broke my soul. Like, it's the best movie of the year, and I think Joaquin Phoenix should definitely win an Academy Award. I'm not even a Joaquin Phoenix fan. I usually think he's a bit extra, but seeing him in this movie, I was like, oh, this is the journey you've been on. You've been trying to get to this point where you could do a character like this. The movie's so intense. It's directed by Lynn Ramsey. It's so stylish and
was that name familiar?
She did Morven Collar, Ratcatcher.
Oh, okay, yeah.
We Need to Talk About Kevin.
Oh,
this is the first movie I've
one.
seen by her, and I was like, damn, she's so talented. I'm embarrassed I haven't seen any of her
We need
movies
to talk about Kevin.
until now. But I was
Similarly
shaking.
intense.
I came out like shaking from watching it, and I told my wife, I need a hug. Don't ever watch this movie.
Wow.
I can't recommend seeing it, but it's amazingly passionate and galvanizing to help make the world a better place. The main character has PTSD, and it's the most accurate portrayal I've ever seen of what it feels like to have PTSD. From the first 3 seconds of the movie, you know you're in trouble. Like, it's intense.
Have you ever seen, and I cannot sing this show's praises enough, Amazon's Patriot? Awful title.
I haven't seen
the
it.
title immediately unsells everyone.
Omar, dude.
Like Omar,
Patriot.
from my roommate Omar. You know Omar, right?
Yeah.
For months he was recommending Patriot to me, and I was like, no, it's called Patriot. Get out of my stop it. Get out of my mentions. But then he was watching it one day, and I wound up sitting there watching it, and I was like, what is this? This is really good. And he's like, Patriot. It's like,
is it about patriots?
No.
No.
Well, he does his job, he's a spy basically, but like it's basically like Wes Anderson by way of Coen Brothers meets Mission Impossible, I guess. Not really Mission Impossible, but like it's like a good burn after reading. I don't know. It's hard to describe, but also like one of the best depictions of PTSD and depression I think I've ever seen.
Wow.
Like there was an episode of that show that like I've cried like 3 times ever. And it was Guardians of the Galaxy, San Junipero, and Patriot.
Patriot, dude.
Dude,
on
Patriot
the list with those?
is so
good Lord.
good.
All right, I'm going to watch it.
You would love it. You would love it.
Yeah, I'm going to
out,
watch it
yeah.
now, for sure.
It's
100%.
funny. It's touching.
How many
it's
seasons?
thoughtful. Just one right now.
Oh.
Supposedly, season 2 is coming out this year, hopefully. I don't know.
After I watch 8 Will Ferrell movies, I'll
Yeah.
be sure to
He lost a bet.
get on that.
That's a hefty punishment.
Very
Yeah.
hefty.
Well, the stakes were Brandon would have had to watch all of season 1 of Gotham, so it works out time-wise. He kind of got off easy. Stephen C.T. brought up Princess Mononoke, which I think is a good one.
What do you guys think about war movies? Has anyone really brought up any war movies in the comments? Because, war movies are depressing as hell.
Yeah.
But
I think
Paths of Glory for me is like the number one. Stanley Kubrick, one of his earliest films, really humanizes the soldiers of it and how ridiculous war is.
Yeah.
The whole thing is about World War I, and the troops are supposed to advance when they hear the whistle, and the people advance on their side and just get gunned down. Like, there's nothing anyone can do. If you go up, you are going to get shot and die. So a couple people just don't go during the whistle, and the whole movie's about like them getting put on trial for like breaking the rules. You're going to execute them. So the whole movie is about the trial of
which
that.
movie is this?
Paths of Glory, Stanley Kubrick.
Oh, yeah.
So Kirk Douglas is like the main general guy, and he's like defending them because he was on the front lines too, and like he's the one
Right.
blowing the whistle, but he's like defending him, and it's just so depressing because when you like unpack war and the war, we could have a whole thing about war, but when you really unpack it, and it's just like, yeah, your orders were to go, but like we were gonna die no matter what.
Right.
There's that disconnect
So
of
like, why do it?
exactly,
Right.
yeah. So
Yeah, war and my brain don't get along. I
No.
can't figure it out generally. I guess people have oil that we want.
Paths of Glory is gut-wrenching movie.
Someone actually did bring up war. Samuel Cardwell brought up the thing that wrecks him the most, tragedy caused by circumstances beyond anyone's control, like sudden, pointless, meaningless. A few people brought that up where it's like pointless deaths.
Mm-hmm.
He brings up Gallipoli, like World War I movies,
Yeah.
where it's just like people just like there's nothing you can do. You just get killed now.
Yeah. I'm like
someone
thinking
else-
about the D-Day and
Yeah.
Private Ryan. I'm like tearing up right now.
Fuyanotabi brought up Lost World Jurassic Park of all things, but there's this scene
Okay, change of pace.
Interesting.
when the
This
T-Rex
is what we need.
eats Eddie. When the T-Rex eats Eddie because he has that gun that he could shoot the T-Rex with, but it gets stuck on the net, and then he just can't get it up in time, and then can't get the gun
Eddie.
up in time. Eddie.
I don't remember who Eddie is,
He's like the guy, his like friend.
but okay.
What's his name? Whatever.
Goldblum's friend.
Yeah.
I like it in Jurassic World that Goldblum's just over it.
Oh
let
yeah.
let him burn.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, yeah. When I was watching, did you see that movie?
Mm-mm.
He's in like he had like a 2-hour shoot day
Yeah.
for that movie. He's
Yeah.
just like talking at a symposium or whatever. But they bring up the question of like, well, should we save these dinosaurs from this volcano or not? And I'm like, in my head, I was just like, there's one correct answer, and then he's just like, let them burn. They had their chance.
Yeah.
Like it's just like they shouldn't be here anyway. And I'm like, yep. That's a movie that's a logical leap. That movie where like
His character.
No. That's the correct, but like all the protagonists of the movie who are trying to save the dinosaurs, like
Yeah.
the core argument of your film is wrong.
Well, like with her, it's redemption, making up for her past, because
I
like she was
guess.
involved with all that, and for him, like Chris Pratt, it's like love. Blue's like a kid to him, you know.
I suppose.
Anytime love is involved, I buy it.
Someone else brought
Anyway.
this up. We're moving into like films that made you scared of something for like ongoing fear. Like
Ooh.
It made me afraid to go downstairs in my house for a long, long time. I have an irrational fear of man-made structures in water. Someone else brought up the movie Poseidon Adventure, but I loved that movie as a kid. So I don't know what happened to me that made me afraid of like ships and stuff underwater. Terrified of it now.
I think over the years, just watching so much of this content and playing so much of this content, it's definitely affected my brain. Like, I'll go into a bank or something.
Oh, yeah.
And just be like, it could happen right now. Someone could bust in here.
Yeah.
You know, or when I'm driving, just like, car crash. It's
Oh,
going
God.
down.
I hate that shot
You
in
know?
movies from the side.
And
you know something's going to happen.
Yep.
Yeah,
Every time I go
yeah.
through an intersection, like a yellow light, I'm bracing. I'm just
Well, and also, like, it brings up, like, the language, you know, filmmaking language, but it's like, anytime there's that angle, you're like, even if it's just like a romantic movie and nothing bad's gonna happen, anytime, like, never use that angle unless something bad is gonna happen.
I can't stand it when
I can't
I
stand
know.
it.
Well, the thing I love in No Country for Old Men, which I still to this day assert is the most perfect film made by human beings, they do that shot, but the wrong way. The car hits you from the camera side.
Cool. I don't remember.
It's at the end.
I haven't seen it in like 5 years.
I have a funny anecdote from No Country for Old Men, but it doesn't make me look very good. But that's what's funny about it. So I was at the
Please go on.
I was at an early screening of this movie, and Javier Bardem and Josh Brolin were there, and then
look at you.
The Coen brothers were there, and I've always loved Barton Fink. That's one of my favorite movies.
Absolutely.
When I was a teenager, I went into an abandoned building and graffitied "Please watch Barton Fink" on the building. I loved it so much, and like I had a picture like that I had developed of "Please watch Barton Fink," and I always had it hanging up on my wall. And when we got invited to the screening, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna give this picture to the Coen brothers. It'll be great. I'll be at No Country for Old Men. They'll think it's funny. They'll be like, "Yeah, it's hilarious. Check this kid out. He spray painted our movie." So No Country for Old Men was over. Joel and Ethan Coen did their little talk, and I went up to Ethan Coen afterwards. I was like, "Hey, I've always loved Barton Fink, and when I was a kid, I spray painted some graffiti about it. I thought you should have this." He looked freaked out. He looked like I was some like crazy guy who'd come out to like attack him, and he called his like helpers over. He's like, "Tina, Johnny, come over here," and they like escorted him away from me, and I was like, "Ooh, that did not go the way I planned at all." It was really embarrassing. I thought they'd be like,
Weird.
"Hey, look at this guy. He's great. Tommy Lee Jones,
Yeah,
come
what
over him.
the-
He spray painted this. Come out to Denny's with us afterwards and eat." It was embarrassing. It was a disaster.
Why did he
It
have
was
that
kinda funny.
reaction?
I don't know.
I think
Yeah.
from everything I've seen of the Coen brothers and heard them talk and stuff, I think they're very like shy.
He looked at me like I was Travis Bickle. Like,
Right.
like I
Yeah,
had just
yeah.
bum rushed him or something.
Yeah.
So
I mean, like,
it was embarrassing.
They're good Midwestern boys, you know. Like spray painting a building is tantamount to murder. I think
It could be.
You're like a
Yeah.
criminal.
It's
to
crime.
them.
Yeah, it's crime.
Yeah. But that's amazing. I love Barton Fink. I need to rewatch it again, but I think about the like I will show you the life of the mind.
That movie's kind of
scene, like,
affecting,
over and
actually.
over
That's a
and
little
over.
bit
Oh,
on
yeah.
the wrecking
for
territory.
sure.
Yeah.
But then again, like movies like a Serious Man, where have you seen that one?
I have, yeah.
Where it's like nothing goes well, you know. To me, that's a happy movie. I don't know, like the end. I left the theater and I was like happy. The ending is hilarious.
I only saw it once in the theater.
Oh yeah.
Can't remember these movies.
tornado
I've seen so many and you just forget.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Don't remember anything about it. I remember standing on a roof.
Yeah.
I remember
the
like his
poster.
weird neighbor has like some sexual undertones with the neighbor.
Oh yeah.
Some like ice in the glass.
That actor turned out to be amazing, though, right? Isn't he the
main
Shape
guy
of
then?
Water
Oh, Michael
guy?
Stolberg, yeah.
He's
He's
great.
in,
Oh,
Boardwalk
Call Me by Your
Empire.
Name.
I love him.
Right?
Oh, I haven't seen
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
yeah.
He's
I love
so good in
him.
Call Me by Your Name. He's like the dad in Call Me by Your Name.
Oh, I didn't know that. Take Shelter. Have you seen that one?
Yeah, that's very similar.
Michael
I
Shannon?
saw
Yeah,
the
yeah.
leap you made there with the ending.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good movie. I don't know. Let me see. Yeah, did anything that you saw as like a little kid, just someone brought up Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Andrew Bailey brought up Who Framed Roger Rabbit. That one, I love that movie. It's like another almost perfect movie, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man, the shoe going in the dip, and then like the judge at the end, like talk just like this,
Freaky.
like, freaky as hell, man.
Yeah.
Oh, that one didn't like last with me though.
Yeah.
It really messed me up as a kid.
The real life stuff really got me as a kid, like Misery.
Oh yeah.
You know, just these like people holding you captive.
Yeah.
That's kind of my fear. Like you said Room earlier, things like
yeah.
that are just sadistic and disturbing, and like you were saying about serial killers,
Right.
like that stuff will always affect me more than aliens or monsters or
Right.
gore. It's like if you just have a real world psycho,
Yeah.
I'm way more freaked out.
It's hard to shake. You're like,
Yeah.
that really happens.
Yeah, it's like the older I get, the more affecting that is.
Yeah.
on me. As a kid, like the supernatural stuff, like maybe it was my religious upbringing, I don't know, but like ghosts and stuff that you couldn't explain or fight against really bothered me a lot. Like that stuff scared the hell out of me.
Yeah.
Whereas serial killers like Mike Myers, like that kind of like,
Yeah.
that's just a dude. Like whatever, you can get away.
It's a monster, dude.
Yeah. But yeah, now the more I think about like the meat,
Yeah.
this vessel, you know, like, and not wanting to get murderized, like, yeah. That stuff is the real tea right there. Hannibal, man. That show is unsettling because
Very.
it makes you hungry
God.
and
Makes
terrified.
you hungry. What
Because
part
they
of it makes
shoot.
you hungry?
Well, it doesn't make me hungry, but I mean, they
Hey,
shoot.
lose my appetite.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It like makes what I mean is like it makes you lose your appetite, but they're shooting the bodies the way that they shoot food.
Ooh, weird.
Like that's how they
Yeah,
do
that
it
sounds
in that
unappealing.
show.
Yeah.
It's unappealing, but it's also like highly like it really messes with your head because it's shot to be enticing. The show
it's
is
almost putting you in the shoes.
it's
of
putting
the
you in the
killer,
shoes
then.
of
Yeah.
Hannibal. Like it wants you to salivate like you're looking at food, but it's a carcass.
But why?
And like oftentimes like well, because Hannibal's a cannibal, right?
Yeah,
So like
yeah.
it dresses it up as he dresses up bodies like food all the time.
Please come back, Hannibal.
Candyman is another one. I never saw it.
Candyman.
VG Junkie brought
Oh,
up
my
Candyman.
childhood right there.
I never saw it, but it was described to me. I remember a
Freaky.
moment. I remember a moment because the movie had been described to me. I was like 8, like a child.
Yeah.
And it was described to me, and it's like, if you look in the mirror and say this, it'll come out and get you. But I misunderstood because the person who described it to me said, yeah, and then this black man comes out and gets you. And I thought, like, in my head, like, thought they meant, like, literally, like,
Yeah,
actual,
like a
black,
shadow
right?
man.
Like a shadow man.
Yeah.
And then, so I was, like, crying and scared one night, and my mom was like, what's going on? And I told her, and then she's like, are you afraid of black people now? And I'm like, not black people, Mom. He's literally black, like the color black.
Shadow people. You know what
Yeah.
did get me?
But apparently I was
eyes.
wrong. It's just a black dude.
The movie Ghost
But it was
got me
only-
surprisingly
Ghost,
as a kid
dude?
because those little shadow things that when you die and they
Yes.
drag you
They
down
take
to
him to
hell.
hell, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are a little creepy.
Totally.
I don't know if they're still creepy now, but as a kid, I was
Man.
always on the watch out for those.
It's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
like, I guess that's the point I wanted to bring up at this part is because like misunderstandings that you have as a child that make things so much worse. Like I misunderstood just having Candyman described to me that it was some like horrific monster when really it's like a man will come out, which is like still freaky, but it's not
Yeah.
that freaky.
Yeah.
I mean, I've still never seen them, so I don't really know. But like, I misunderstood it just because I was like 6 or whatever, like 8. Things like that. But like, quick aside, I haven't seen the Mr. Rogers documentary yet, but I really super want to because apparently he was very cognizant of that, how kids can misunderstand things like that. And like that's why he would do stuff, and he would be very careful about language to be like, this is literally what this means. You can't mistake it for anything else. Like that's why he did stuff like you can't get sucked down the drain because he's like, kids are afraid of that. Like I was afraid of some like spectral shadow man, but really I didn't need to be because I just misunderstood because I was a moron. But yeah, anyway, kids are stupid. Love
Mr.
'em.
Rogers.
Kids are the best.
Goat.
Goaty. We already talked about positive change. We're running a little short on time here. How about this? What's a movie that you're happy that you saw once, but you never ever want to see ever again?
Oh, I know I have a ton of these. Like, I mean, Requiem for a Dream.
Requiem for
I
a
never
Dream.
need to watch ever
I've
again
seen-
in my life.
When I was a kid and
Ever.
all depressed all the time and like,
No desire.
my formative years, I would watch Requiem a lot.
Yeah.
I had like a weird time. I mean, like I had chronic depression as a kid, like from 13 to 20,
This movie probably didn't help, or maybe it did.
That movie,
Yeah.
like I don't know, it was like commiserating, but also like really depressing, and that one like had infidelity stuff in it too, so it really affected me in that way poorly. But I remember movies that unintentionally now carry a bunch of baggage that aren't sad, but would wreck me if I watched them. Father of the Bride Part 2 and As Good as It Gets, because I would just watch them on repeat when I was super depressed for years.
So they just have that association.
They just have that association now. But yeah.
You nailed it earlier. 12 Years a Slave. I love that movie, the filmmaking of it, but I can't watch it again. It's so sad.
Manchester by the Sea, Casey Affleck, real life, can't really vouch for Monster that fella.
Man,
but the movie, there's other people who made that besides him. And that movie was super affecting. And I don't think I can watch it again. It's so heartbreaking. And that's one where his character isn't an awesome dude, but you just see it as a case of almost harmless mishaps that lead to a terrible tragedy. And that's really sympathetic, where you're like, okay, you fucked up a little, but it destroyed your life in a way that was much more severe than the crime that you did. Right. Yeah.
That's always
really
hard
to watch. Yeah, just because sometimes I don't like things that portray how mean fate can be.
Right.
Because I mean, some people do just get a really bad shake like that. And that's depressing to watch because I can't talk myself out of that either.
Right.
I'm like, some people's lives are sad fucking stories, and that's it. The end.
Also, kind of like what we were talking about before about when you care about a person in a horror movie. I think that horror especially, but any movie where the characters do the right thing, like they do the thing that makes the most sense, and it still fails, they still fail, that to me is the most powerful and a sign of just good writing. But it's like, they're behaving like a person, they're doing what they would do, and it's still just sucks.
I don't think you're a fan. It's one of my all-time favorites, The Departed. I love it, but it has that in the elevator, that scene that gets me. He's trying to do the right thing.
I don't hate The Departed. I just think he made many better films previous to that, prior to that, and they just threw him the Oscar because he was due, But I'm like, he should have had it for Mean Streets, whatever,
of course.
Well,
better
he
late
has
than
better
never.
movies.
Better late than never.
Yeah.
It's what it represents.
Right. Sure.
On the subject of Martin Scorsese, one of my favorites recently has been The King of Comedy. Have you seen that one?
No.
It's an earlier film of his with Robert De Niro. Completely different from anything Martin Scorsese ever made. It's a guy who wants to be a late-night talk show host.
Oh.
It's Robert De Niro who has a dream of being like Johnny Carson or something like that.
Weird.
And he's so obsessive and stalkerish about getting this job, and you feel really bad for this guy with a depressed life who's he's obsessed in a Max Fisher from Rushmore kind of way.
Okay.
It's really funny, with sort of an unexpectedly heartbreaking kick at the end.
Yeah.
It's an amazing movie.
Wow.
It's his best movie in my mind. It's Robert De Niro's
Scorsese's
best role
best
and Martin Scorsese's best movie. I don't hear people say it's that great. They need to watch it again, and then they'll agree with me. It's amazing.
Cape Fear, that's one I never need to watch again.
Oh, yeah.
That's them, De Niro and Scorsese.
Yeah.
Affliction. You guys ever see Affliction?
No.
Nick Nolte.
Oh yeah, that movie's a bummer.
Such a
From
bummer.
start to finish.
Oh my gosh.
That's a tall glass of bummer.
Yeah, just abusive, terrible father.
Yeah.
Small town. Some of these movies. Gosh.
I'm gonna need to
Maybe
do
I
something
will.
really happy after this.
I'm gonna watch some Will Ferrell after this.
Yeah.
Definitely, I do that.
I'm gonna go play Super Mario World or something.
You need a digestif after these movies. Sometimes you're just like, oh man, I gotta watch something happy. Do you have any examples of unintentional movies that unintentionally kicked you, that the filmmakers did not intend? For me, the example, I mean, this is morbid, but the example for me is Guardians of the Galaxy made me cry just because my mom had died before I saw it.
That's a rough movie for that subject.
And I did not
it really
expect
leans into that.
to be kicked in the dead mom button.
Totally.
By Guardians of the Galaxy. But it did. And
especially
so that
if you think
movie,
you're going to watch a comic book upbeat kind of thing.
Yeah. So it blindsided me. Do you guys have any examples like that? I mean,
In Our
don't want
Stars.
to pry. Oh yeah.
The most depressing.
That movie seems like it's wants to be depressing.
Yeah. But my brother is sick with cancer, so it's
hit
just
home. Yeah.
So those things that hit home are
I
the
definitely
worst.
My dad also. I definitely avoid
Don't watch it.
all cancer things.
Mm-hmm.
Just avoid them.
Yeah.
Cries and Whispers, the Ingmar Bergman movie, I think I
Oh.
mentioned that earlier, is about a family of sisters, and that's the subject. One of them's sick and dying, and it's so heart-wrenching these people who are just cold and dead inside, trying to like find the compassion in themselves. And they have like a servant in the house who's taking care of someone, and it's like a good example of like sometimes as a human you just have to like get your hands dirty in the act of caring for people.
Yeah.
And I definitely related to the cold sisters who just couldn't find that compassion. And watching it, I was like, I need to be like the caring household, like hospice nurse. That's the person I want to be.
Nice.
And I wasn't expecting to watch that movie that day. And I was kind of a mess afterwards. But ever since then, I've been thinking about like, I need to be a little bit more like this character. Be careful when you watch it. Yeah.
It's always very unsettling for me when I realize that I'm identifying with the wrong character, you know, like Thoroughbreds. Saw that and I was like, I identify with the girl who feels nothing probably way more than I should. Like she literally has no feelings, and I'm like, yeah, that's pretty sweet. Yeah.
Sometimes that's good though, to know you're not alone in that feeling.
Yeah.
It may be a temporary feeling, but just
Sure.
for I watched Sacred of a Killing Deer last night.
Oh yeah,
And that's the lobster director.
I
He's
like
got a
Lobster,
Greek name.
mostly.
I can't remember.
Yeah,
his
the dog
name.
tooth guy.
Yeah. I didn't realize that Killing of a Sacred Deer was gonna be weird magical realism like the lobster.
Oh, I never
Killing of a
saw it,
Sacred Deer
yeah.
doesn't take place in real life. It's some weird short story experimental fiction magical land.
Okay.
And it was so darkly funny.
I gotta see
I
it.
laughed a billion times at inappropriate places. And I think after a week-long marathon of movies that wrecked me, ending with that one sort of was like a relief. It's like, okay, you just went through a bunch of dark shit. It's okay to laugh at this.
Yeah.
We don't have to take it all seriously. It's a pretty bleak movie with a downer ending, but you'll laugh a couple times along the way.
I had the weirdest experience as a kid. I watched the movie Bringing Out the Dead with Nick Cage, and like the first time we saw it, I don't know why, but my friend and I thought it was a comedy, so we were just like laughing the whole time. We thought it was so funny and dark,
There's
like
some
very
funny
dark.
stuff in
Yeah.
it.
But then,
Nick Cage.
but then I saw it. I showed it to someone a second time, like a month later. And I was like, oh, no, this is like the most depressing movie of all time. So to this day, I've only seen it those 2 times. To this day, I'm not sure which one it is. Like, which version of that movie is the real one? Is it funny or the most depressing thing ever? Like, I have no idea.
He like loves the like adrenaline of it, right?
He's like addicted to, like near misses or whatever.
Yeah.
I do like the psychedelic red wine montage sequence in that movie. Someone dies and that UB40 song's playing and it's kind of cheesy, but it's done in a weird way where these like sparks
Isn't he like
are
high
flying.
or drunk
I think
or
so.
something?
Yeah.
It's been so many years. Man. Yeah, when I was a kid, I just watched like all the darkest stuff.
Leaving Las Vegas.
Yeah.
I've never brought myself to watch it.
Yeah, that one seems like
Yeah.
a real downer.
Such a downer.
Yeah. Like when I was a kid, we were watching like constantly like Hellraiser and like just all the most depressing stuff.
But you turned out to be a wonderful human being.
Yeah.
So look at that.
Samesies. You too. Yeah. Adam Mulaney brought up the end of Terminator 2. Gets him every time. I thought you'd appreciate that. Thumbs up.
T2.
Did you call moi
Judgment Day.
dipshit?
What?
That's just my favorite line.
Oh,
from
did you
Terminator 2.
call him moi?
Put you like that.
Would you kindly ask a question that I thought was interesting? What movies recently? This is a little of a departure from this topic, kind of. But what movies, instead of making you sad or wrecking you in that way, just made you mad, like angry?
Handmaid's
at the
Tale
movie?
makes me pissed. It's a show, not a movie. I'm
That's
sorry.
like meant to make you mad, though.
Yeah.
Do you mean make you mad at the movie
Make you mad
or make you mad at the world?
like
or?
at the movie. I think is the example that they brought up was The Dark Tower because, like myself, they have read all of the books and the movie was trash.
Okay.
For me, Annihilation is a similar kind of thing. I need to like divorce myself from the idea that, he was actually adapting the book because it's very loose.
Oh, I like Annihilation. I like the book and I like the movie even
I
more.
love the books. They're like some of my favorite
The
books
movie like
ever
fills
made.
in some stuff.
It's just a different story. It's entirely if I need to watch it again now that I'm prepared for that in my mind. Like I kind of knew it before going in, but like it is so a different story that it made me upset at first.
The movie turned the story into like a relationship metaphor,
Right.
which the book wasn't really about
Not at
at all. But
Yeah.
I like that in horror art movies when they somehow extrapolate all this gruesome stuff
Yeah.
to describe the emotions characters in a relationship are going through. Did you ever see Thirst, which is by
Yes.
the director of Old Boy?
Yes.
It's a vampire
Thirst
adaptation
is very good.
of an Emile Zola novel, and it turns the whole like gruesome vampire thing into like a
didn't
metaphor
know-
about characters who love each other. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't even know it was an adaptation.
It's an
That's cool.
adaptation of a book, Therese for Queen, which is not about vampires at all. It's a fascinating book.
Really?
And like I was reading the book, it has all these long descriptions of people's pale necks, and I was like, I see what he did. He was reading this and he got the idea. It's a beautiful mashup. Have you seen Thirst?
Thirst.
Oh, I love
Thirst
it.
is amazing.
I think it's his
Love
best
Thirst.
film. Yeah.
Is that Book-John
Park
Park Chan-wook?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, man. Handmaiden is real good.
Handmaiden's good too.
Handmaiden is
is good. I have
real
some
good.
Still never saw that
problems with Handmaiden, but overall it's a
What's
thumbs up.
wrong? What's wrong with him?
It felt a little exploitative in the way that I don't want to give things away about the end of the movie.
Yeah.
But it sort of describes how these women are being used for his like pulpy erotic novels, and it almost felt like the movie turned into one of those.
Yeah.
In a way that I felt could have been handled better. Overall, still like it a lot.
I read
Still
that as
thumbs up.
intentional.
I did too.
Yeah.
But it's like a cake and eat it too kind
Sure,
of situation.
sure, I
Like,
see where you're coming
I'm
from.
criticizing it by replicating it.
But
which,
yeah.
you know, that doesn't always
yeah,
work.
no, it doesn't always pay
Yeah.
off. I liked it though.
It's good. It's a good movie, yeah.
But yeah, Thirst is so good. I'm due for a rewatch on Thirst.
Oh
first.
boy, wrecked me. when I
Old Boy
saw
is
that.
very
Oh,
intense.
that's a bummer.
Old Boy wants you to feel hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For
Old
sure.
Boy is like Haneke levels of
Yeah.
like screw you for watching.
It had some
yeah.
tenderness though. It
Oh, yeah,
almost
for
has a
sure,
happy
for sure.
ending.
Almost.
Oddly. Yeah.
Yeah. Titus, the Julie Taymor, Titus Andronicus.
That's amazing. That one's great.
I love that movie.
Yeah, I want to see
But
more from her.
Woof,
She's
is that
great.
a bleak?
Yeah.
It's bleak.
trying to think of
Also,
movies
really
that I hate.
anachronistic. I loved it.
Yeah,
That movie, I
that's cool.
forgot about that. Movies that made me angry. But yeah, Titus is real good. Hard to get.
I get angry at Todd Solondz movies.
Oh yeah.
I get angry at Todd Solondz. I'm like, you
They-
put all that effort into making us feel miserable for what reason?
what?
I
Yeah.
don't. It's so artfully done, but they're just miserable.
Yeah.
And I get angry at him for trying to make me feel miserable. I'm like, you don't know me. Why do you want me to feel miserable,
Right.
buddy?
Harmony Korine is sometimes like that for me too.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of like, why? Like kids. I never watched Gummo or whatever because it just looks
Yeah.
so depressing.
Haven't
And
heard of that
Spring Breakers, I was just like, oh god. I was like, I get it. It's like, yeah. It's an interesting thing, right? Because sometimes, I mean, Haneke for sure, like, you are being punished. Like, that's the point.
Yeah.
Like,
a lot of Kubrick movies are not
Yeah.
necessarily entertaining.
right.
They're punishing you.
Right.
in a way,
I
you
do
know?
like ones that gnaw away at you for a
Right.
little while. I like a movie where I'm not sure if I like it. And
Right.
then 5 days later, I'm like, oh, I just realized I loved it. Those
To
are
me-
some of my favorite movies.
To me, movies like that, or like when the realization comes a few days later, for me, the most palpable example was Let the Right One In, where like 2 days later, I was like, oh no, wait, that's what was going on with that relationship. Okay. And it like retroactively changed my entire read on the movie.
That's fun.
And made
It's
it so
fun
much
when-
better.
yeah.
Love stuff like that. But yeah, movies where you're not sure what you think.
It's
I
a
love.
tightrope. It's hard to handle these tough subjects and pull it off well. I think
Yeah.
even the best directors can't do it all the time.
Yeah.
Steve
Yeah.
McQueen, 12 Years a Slave, and Shame.
Oh, Shame I
Shame
never
looked
saw.
rough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never saw
Shame
Shame.
I
is
never
rough.
saw Shame.
But it was one of those movies that I like thought about, kept thinking about it. You
Yeah.
know?
And he did Call Me by Your Name, or is that no?
No,
that's
that's a different director. Steve McQueen is 12 Years a Slave.
Tom
yeah.
Ford. No, I don't know who did Call Me by Your Name, which I haven't seen yet. I really want to. I Am Love was pretty depressing. Have you seen The Skin I Live In?
Oh, yeah. I've seen that movie. That's the Almodovar, right?
Yeah, that's one of my favorite movies.
Oh, wow. You know,
that's one of these movies where
that's
it's like
a big
really
conversation
depressing,
then. Yeah,
really
yeah.
depressing, but I just love it. I don't know.
I thought
It's
it was
like Black Mirror.
fascinating, but it may the thing with all the Almodovar movies I've seen is they want you to feel empathy in places you're not used to feeling it.
Right.
It's like stretching your empathy muscles.
Right.
But sometimes I almost feel like it's slightly misplaced because we don't have infinite resources of empathy.
Right.
Like humans can only devote so much energy to things. So sometimes I'm wondering why he wants me to care about the characters doing bad things as much as the characters who are being harmed by the bad
Yeah.
things. I have to think about all his movies, and I love that. I love that experience of having to mull them over.
Yeah.
though.
The Skin I Live In for me is one of his more cut and dried ones where it's like, she's good, everyone else is kind of not great. And it's like a little clearer because like she never really did anything that it was all a misunderstanding. So it's like,
misunderstandings.
Yeah, but like things where it's like talk to her. Like some of his movies, the gender politics in his movies, I'm just kind of like, yo, this guy's irredeemable. Like, what's happening? Like, what's happening?
Yeah. That's a movie I have problems with.
I definitely have problems with that one. But yeah, Almodovar is a very interesting character.
I love that he's trying, though.
Yeah. I definitely think his heart's in the right place. It doesn't always hit right, but I think his heart's in the right place. But anyway,
that's all you can hope for from a filmmaker.
Yeah. Try your best.
I love it when you can trust a director.
Right.
I feel where you know they're going to take you somewhere dark, but you know at the end you're in good hands, and they're going to like deliver you somewhere beautiful. Like Cronenberg, I feel that way, where he's going to do some fucked up stuff. Yeah. Like he's earned my trust where I can believe in where he's taking me.
Well, and also because like that's a very good point, because like with Todd Solondz or Harmony Korine and stuff like that, or Lars von Trier, and Haneke to some extent, but I think Haneke is more of a master, but like, where he's like doing things intentionally, but there's trust that you as a viewer are putting on a film and a filmmaker when you go to them, especially these kinds of heavy subject matter things. And like if they don't treat it with respect and if they don't pull it off, it's an insult. It's kind of like, why did I waste my time on this? Why did you punish me? What is wrong? Like, what did I do to you? Whereas like the true masters, like Cronenberg and a few others, like I would say Haneke, or Paul Thomas Anderson probably. Like they take you to this horrible place, but they like usher you back out into the world too. They don't just leave you in it to die. Like what's his name? Love guy.
Irreversible.
Gaspar Noé,
that guy.
Where it's just like he wants to kick you and leave you there.
That may be the only movie in history I've walked out on was Irreversible.
Irreversible?
It was playing at a theater I worked at, so I didn't pay to see it.
Right.
And I got like 10 minutes in, and I knew it was only going to get worse. And I was like, I don't trust where this is going. I'm out of here. I'm done. This is already rough enough for me. Yeah, Gaspar Noé is a bit much.
Definitely. I never saw Enter the Void.
Interesting, but I can't vouch for it. Interesting, but I can't vouch for it.
It's
whatever.
It does have this cool roller coaster in Japan. It's like the oldest roller coaster in Japan, where it's like a little tanuki raccoon thing.
Oh, funny.
And I saw it in the movie, and I was like, one day I have to go there. And I went there, and it was as amazing as it looked in the movie.
The location stuff is fantastic in that movie.
Yeah. But yeah, like Cronenberg, man, I even like Cosmopolis. Like, I mean, cool. I like the book, but like, I'm like, okay, I'll sit in a car with you for an hour and a half. Sure. I trust you, dude. It's fine. He's not a freako, is he? He's not like a monster.
Cronenberg, I hope not.
He seems nice. I met him once.
Oh, really?
And he had this very avuncular, charming feel. Okay. I've heard descriptions of his set where these creepy guys always turn out to be really, really sweet. The ones who make the darkest movies.
Yeah.
The people who work with Cronenberg
praise
him, speak very highly of him.
I heard similar things about David Lynch. Like, in his personal life, definitely, like, infidelity, whatever, like, what have you. But, like, apparently his sets are always very safe feeling. Except for Isabella Rossellini still doesn't know why he was, like, laughing during her rape scene in Blue Velvet.
Oh, God. Blue Velvet fucks me up.
Blue Velvet is a rough one.
Yeah.
Also, Twin Peaks The Return. Pretty intense.
It's all right. Times. Yeah. David Fire Lynch, Walk with Me.
Oh,
yeah. That movie's hard to watch.
David Lynch goes there for sure.
What I love about Blue Velvet, though, is so compassionate towards the victims of terrible violence. Like Isabella Rossellini, every time I watch that movie, I learn something new about power dynamics between people, and you see her trying to work through the terrible things that have happened to her, and there's some little nuance that I catch each time that feels so compassionate and so ingeniously created that I get lost in that movie. Every time I watch it, I discover something new. Frank Booth, Dennis Hopper, I can't believe I never noticed this. During her performance of Blue Velvet, where she's singing Blue Velvet, he's sitting in the audience weeping.
He's
watching
crying.
her. I never noticed that until the last time I watched it, and like, God, this horrible monster also has human emotions. It's a tough movie.
He's basically a monster in that movie.
Maybe Lynch was just trying to keep it light on set by laughing.
He's just like, haha, everything's fine. It's pretend. Haha. Yeah, David Lynch, I think, does stuff, and he's not even sure why half the time. Yeah,
he's the most problematic fave. I love his movies. I don't know how to feel about him as a human. His politics are a little weird recently.
Yeah, I forgot about that Trump thing.
Yeah.
That's weird.
But he makes good
But
movies.
it's like he's such a weirdo that I'm like, he probably didn't mean it the way everyone's taking it, but I don't want to speak to that
He believes
either.
9/11 conspiracy theories.
Really?
I just
I mean,
don't
he
think
believes
he's
in
very
yeah.
politically acute. I
Yeah,
don't think he pays
just
attention.
doesn't care. Yeah, he's
It's not an excuse.
No,
but yeah.
he's not a part of this world. We went and saw him. I met him one time. We went and saw him at a transcendental meditation thing.
Oh, did he give you his TM spiel?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, it was like a big thing. But we just wanted to talk to him about movies. You know.
Yeah.
It was cool. He was
That
nice.
is cool.
He seemed like when I met him, he seemed like somebody's like cool grandpa.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was weird. What a weird dude. I don't know. I'm all about like. I'm happy that things are happening the way they're happening in Hollywood right now. Like things are being less tolerated, though. That's a whole other topic that probably we don't need to get on.
It's been a bummer of a year, but very productive.
Yeah.
I think it's a good thing.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it.
Progress.
Yeah. Sooner or later, hopefully, we'll come out the other side and everything will be fine.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God. This is a.
Watch some of these depressing
Yeah.
movies to get through it.
Have you seen Das Weiße Band? The White Ribbon?
Yeah, that's another Haneke one.
Yeah. I love that movie.
That movie just ends.
Oh yeah.
That movie
That
is
is a
the most
bleak
abrupt
movie.
ending.
And
Where
it's 3 hours long.
I had to check my like DVD when I was watching it to make sure I didn't miss something or it skipped. And I was like, oh no, that's the
Yeah.
end.
I don't
Just sit
remember
with
the
this
ending,
terrible
but yeah.
situation. There is no ending.
Oh right.
It just like the movie has a scene with no kind of like statement or anything, and then the credits roll. I was like, oh. So
It
just
was-
gotta sit with the situation then.
I was working in a movie theater when that movie was in theaters, and it was black and white, and it was on like a certain kind of film stock on the reel that I also went to it not knowing anything other than it was Haneke, and like I think we've pronounced his name like 80 different ways.
Yeah.
And I think
One
it's
of
like
them's right.
Hanukkah.
Hanukkah.
I think it's like Hanukkah.
Like the holiday.
Yeah, but I think, but I don't know. Whatever. Michael. It's probably Mikhail too. Like whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, all I knew is he directed it. Went in and found out like at the very beginning, one of my coworkers at Landmark was like, "This movie's 3 hours long," and I was just like, ugh.
Settle in.
But it was funny because I saw it the day it came out. But the film stock that it was on was of a kind that deteriorated rapidly with time and use. So like when I saw the film, it was pristine. But then when I looked in on the theater, like a couple of weeks later, it looked really like it had all kinds of like noise and stuff on it.
Damn.
And I was like, oh, that's really interesting. Like this film is literally breaking down every time we play it.
It's crazy.
It was kind of interesting that they did that. I
Like
don't know.
Persona, the Ingmar Bergman
Never saw
movie.
it.
Yeah.
That one.
Anyone mentioned Schindler's List?
One person did, yeah.
It's kind of like an easy one to pick
Yeah.
at. but
Yeah.
it
That's Spielberg's
devastates
best
me.
movie in my mind.
Oh,
like there's
easily.
no
No,
debate.
I've
still never seen
I
it.
think it's like the greatest movie ever made in terms of like just what it's like the story it's telling, you know.
Yeah.
Like the scene with him at the end, the regret for not being able to save more people, I think is one of like the most gut wrenching. Like every time without fail, no matter what, cry. Tears.
Yeah.
Spielberg is usually too schmaltzy for me, and Schindler's
definitely,
List was like he almost felt I could sense that he thought the movie, the topic deserved a better treatment than his usual schmaltzy
Well, there's
approach.
criticism.
Yeah.
Like Kubrick criticized it because he's focusing on like the aspect of saving people rather than focus on murder, kill.
Right.
You know, there's a lot of
Show the horror.
you see a lot of the horror, but like even Kubrick at the time like criticized it for like Spielberg leaning into like the positive side of Oscar Schindler trying to like save people.
I like it. I think about that when he wants to sell his watch, though.
Mhm.
That I have flashbacks to that in situations
ring.
where I
Oh.
feel like I need to be motivated to act in a socially conscious way. I'm like, well, that dude wanted to sell his watch. I can give a little bit more.
Haven't seen it. I gotta see it.
Really?
It's good.
Well,
It's really
because
good.
again, it's one of those movies. My whole life, everyone's
Yeah.
like, it's super sad.
It is super sad.
So like, I've never watched it.
There's no avoiding being sad watching
Yeah, yeah.
Schindler's
Yeah.
List. Yeah.
Like
a
it's not like
phenomenal
Shawshank
movie.
Redemption where it's like you go down and then you come back up. Like
No, you're
Nope.
just gonna stay down.
you're just gonna
it's
go
a down roller
You're just
coaster.
gonna go down.
Yeah.
It's just a hill.
I think it's a perfect movie.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah.
Challenge accepted.
Yeah.
There
I
will be
wouldn't-
blood.
It's one of those movies where I
Skin.
wouldn't change like a frame or a sentence. you
Oh,
know?
okay. That's No Country for Old Men for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There will be blood. You said.
Well, There Will Be Blood and No Country are always pitted against each other in my
Came out
head.
the same,
They came out at the same time. We had them in the theater at the same time.
It's like Last of Us and GTA 5
Yeah.
are like forever entwined.
Jones was talking about that on the podcast,
Yeah.
and I'm like, the choice is pretty clear there for me, Jones. Like, Last of Us for sure. I don't like Last of Us, and I think it's a better game. But yeah, I don't know.
I made the mistake of showing There Will Be Blood to my family and grandparents, which when I watched There Will Be Blood, I don't have a good sense for these things. I was like, this is classic American filmmaking.
Right.
This is like a classic Western. It's like an old style Hollywood picture. Everybody's going to love this. But I have like a religious family. And I forgot at the end, well, I don't want to spoil the ending, but it's a pretty brutal ending with some religious connotations. And my grandfather, when it was over, he's from the South. He was like, boy, that fella sure liked to slap on folks, didn't he? And I was like, yeah, I guess he did. He did. Daniel Plainview liked to slap on some folks. That's his Rotten Tomato review. Shout out to Grandpa.
Sure like to slap on some.
He's got hand trouble.
Yeah. Was that your dad would always say? Like, yeah, he's got hand trouble when people like beat people up.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Well, this has been a rambling nightmare of an episode, and I love it. Yeah. Let's go watch, like, I don't even know.
Again.
Ant-Man, yeah.
Jolly.
What's happy? Oh, I want to see, what is it called? Sorry to Bother You? Is that what it's called? Next week? Anyway, it looks good.
I don't know.
I forgot what it was called.
I'm most pumped for Mission Impossible.
Oh, yeah.
All I want to do is see that thing in the IMAX.
Unabashedly
Gotta
love
go
the
IMAX.
Mission Impossible
They're
movies.
phenomenal.
Except for 2, I guess.
2 is, it's filler.
I saw it once. I don't remember it at all.
Yeah.
Don't remember a frame
No
of that
need.
movie.
Chimera virus.
It means nothing to me.
Yeah.
The new trailer for Mission Impossible,
No spoilers.
I counted, there's like
Media
80,
blackout.
80 hits in the 2-minute commercial. You know, the sound effect
yeah,
where it's like boom, 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 boom. It's like an SUV rolling down a hill and jumping out a window. But I've never heard that many hits in any trailer ever. Watch the trailer and count how many there are. It's hilarious.
I don't prefer that style of trailer editing myself.
It will never be topped.
Yeah.
Because it would just all be one long percussion.
We should do that. We should just like make something that's like every couple of frames is another and the cut
Make
to
a trailer
black.
for a Hanukkah movie.
Yeah.
White Ribbon, just with 1,000 hits in it.
There wouldn't even be enough like motion on screen to like sell it. Oh my God. Anyways, should we do the quote challenge
Let's
or should
do
we
the
just go
quote
away?
challenge.
Do you have one? Okay.
Quote challenge.
Do you want to go
I brought
first
one.
or do you want to go
for it?
Okay.
I have to think of one.
So my quote challenge, I can't tell if it's going to be hard or not.
Okay.
It's one of my favorite movies, and you've mentioned it on your show once.
Okay.
So I know it's on at least the periphery of your knowledge. So I'm going to escalate it with easier ones. So I'll start with a hard one.
Okay.
Oh man, dissed in the Malibu. That's your castle, man. Dissed in the Malibu.
That's your castle.
Harold and Kumar go to White Castle.
No. That sounds
try.
really familiar.
Okay, I'm gonna bump it up a little.
From the same movie?
Same movie.
Okay.
Next quote. One more thing about the letter. Nuke it, flame it, destroy it. It hurts me to know it's out there.
Rushmore? No.
You're not completely wrong. Warmer than Harold and Kumar, but still not quite. Okay, I'm gonna go up. This one will probably give it away. I don't want to sell anything bought or processed as a career. I don't want to buy anything processed or sold, or sell anything processed or bought, or process anything sold, bought, or repaired as a career. I don't want to do that. What? Okay, maybe I went too far afield. If that didn't kick in your memory.
Soylent Green.
No.
What?
Okay, I got
It's like
Brazil.
Hudsucker Proxy or something.
One last one.
It's not Brazil.
If this one doesn't give it away, then maybe you haven't seen the movie and I've made a terrible mistake.
It sounds familiar.
Okay.
But
I gave her my heart. She gave me a pin.
I have seen this. What is
I
this?
gave her my
line
heart.
sounds really
She
familiar.
gave me a pin.
I feel like it's from the 80s.
Yep. There you go. Really warm now.
I'm getting like Matthew Broderick vibes, but I don't think he's in it.
Again, ballpark here.
Damn it.
That's
Damn
it. Should I
I
give it
give up.
away?
Give it
I'm throwing
give
in
it-
the flag.
give it to us.
Say anything. John Cusack.
Oh,
Say anything.
okay.
Nice.
I don't know.
One of
if
my
I've seen
favorite
that.
movies. But
I
you
don't think
mentioned
I've
it
seen
once, so I was like, oh, here's a chance to
I don't
bust
think
out
I've
the favorite
seen it.
movies. But
I
you
don't think
mentioned
I've
it
seen
once,
it.
so I was like, oh, here's a chance to bust
Yeah,
out the
yeah,
books.
yeah,
Sorry, I
yeah,
went a
yeah.
little too
No, I
obscure
love
there.
it. I love it.
You gotta watch Say Anything.
I
It's
know. I gotta
amazing.
watch Say Anything. Apparently,
I watched it again recently for the first time in a long time. It's one of the best movies.
Really?
It's one of the best movies. It's
Ah.
great. You don't need nostalgia to
Okay.
make it good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna find her.
Oh.
And I'm gonna hurt her.
Is this your quote, or are you
Yeah,
just
that's
being
my
creepy?
no. That's my quote.
That's just Hubert. Sometimes he does that. No, I know it. I know it. Do you know it?
Do you know it?
Not yet.
Do you know other quotes from that movie?
No.
Mission Impossible 3.
Yeah. The late.
I'm gonna find
Great.
Is
her.
this Philip Seymour
Yeah.
Hoffman?
Seymour
Yeah,
Hoffman.
yeah, yeah.
Such a
Hurt
good
her.
villain. God.
I gotta think of one. Oh man, pressure.
J.J. Abrams' directorial debut. Didn't know that. MI3.
Good one out of the gates.
Oh yeah, that's
Really
the first
good.
time he directed it.
Dude, that scene, that like shootout on the bridge with the drone and the helicopter when they're like busting him out, that's
Yeah.
a great action scene.
Oh yeah,
If you want
3 is a good movie.
three's so good.
I like Ghost Protocol a lot too. That's the fourth
And
one.
one, dude, Brian De
One.
Palma,
Yeah, can't go wrong.
legendary.
What's the? How would we order these movies? I would go 1,
I
4,
would go
3.
Two's at the bottom no matter what.
Oh yeah,
right?
two's at the
yeah.
bottom. 1, 4, 3, 5, 2.
I go 1, 3, 4, 5, 2.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
sure.
I've only seen the first 3,
Ah,
so 1, 3, 2.
okay.
Nice, nice.
Yeah, that's correct. If you've seen it. Watch Ghost Protocol, dude. That movie's
Yeah,
good.
Ghost Protocol
Yeah.
rules.
Ghost Protocol is good. Also, I love Leah Seydoux.
Yep.
She's always a treat.
Mm-hmm.
She's really good. Anyway, this one's really easy. Give me the blood, Lord.
I know it. Should I wait?
I know. There will be blood.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Eli.
it's
Give me the
really
blood, Eli.
Yeah.
Eli, give me the blood.
Give me
Give me the
blood.
blood, Lord. Oh man, Daniel Plainview, what a weirdo.
I love it when he's just like,
Punch
I
Drunk
don't
Love,
like all
that's
these
a wreck
people.
me.
Yeah.
What?
And There Will Be Blood, and he's like, I don't like all these people.
All these.
I'm like, I get it. I mean, you're a bad dude, but I get it. I don't like
Yeah.
those people around you
Same.
either.
Yeah.
Kill that guy too? I always forget that. It's such a sudden like murder of that guy.
But yes, he does.
Spoilers.
Spoiler
Spoilers
territory.
He
all
murders
around.
some dude.
He murdered. I think he
He
kills
murders a
2
dude.
people
Yeah.
in that movie.
It's a murder. Is he redeemable?
Yeah, I think he directly with his hands kills 2 people.
Oh, the movie I recommended or didn't recommend earlier, You Were Never Really Here, the Joaquin Phoenix,
yeah.
also has a Johnny Greenwood score.
Oh.
But it's like Johnny Greenwood doing a Drive style Hotline Miami score, which was kind of a different
Whoa.
take. It's really abrasive and hard to watch and amazing, and it killed
you're,
me.
You're,
it killed
you're
me.
not doing a good job.
I know
of
I'm not.
Not selling this movie.
I wish I never saw it, but it's incredible.
Yeah. Did you see the movie Good Time? I almost watched it the other day, but I haven't seen it.
No, I
Did
know
you see
about it. It's
I
from
want to
last
say
year.
I did.
It's like last year. It's
think
got,
I did see it.
Twilight dude, right?
Yeah, what's his name in it?
Robert
Pattinson.
Yeah.
Oh no! My friend though is obsessed with that movie. He said it's amazing.
Really?
My friend was like screaming from the
It
rooftops.
like
to
takes
see
place
it.
in real time or something. I can't
Mhm.
remember the gimmick. Anyway,
And there's like a bank robbery, I think,
yeah.
which I love. Let's do a bank heist episode.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So down.
Inside Man,
So down.
Heat,
So many good ones.
Italian Job,
Rafifi.
Ocean's
The
a jewelry
original
store.
Italian Job
The
is
original
so
Italian
fucking
Job?
Original's
cool.
phenomenal.
Ocean's 11, 11, 13.
So many.
Not 12.
I like
Ocean's
Ocean's
8.
8.
I didn't
Ocean's
see it.
8's
I have
fun.
to see it. I
Ocean's
didn't
It
see
made
it.
me laugh.
I
I
had
liked
fun.
it. It's enjoyable.
I wanna
Yep,
see
the
it.
cast.
Rihanna's great.
Yep.
Anyway.
The heist is cool.
Mm-hmm.
I like Ocean's 8.
We're just kind of going now. Thank you very much. We forgot to mention your podcast. You have a podcast.
Oh yeah. I have a film podcast.
Yeah.
Better Than Speed. I have a bunch of people in the film and television industry, editors and directors, and we meet a couple times a month, watch an old classic movie, like a real classic from like the 30s, 40s, and 50s, the ones that are considered the best, and we compare them to Keanu Reeves' movie Speed. And we all hold a vote if the movie is better or worse than Speed.
Great metric.
Speed always wins. We've had 18 episodes. Only one movie's been voted better than Speed. It's
Really?
surprising. I started as a joke, and then as we analyzed each one, Speed somehow is better. So,
Speed's pretty good.
please, I
pretty
welcome you
fun.
all to the club. It's a really fun, like classic
Dude,
movie conversation.
that's
Yeah,
really
yeah.
It's really funny.
Have you done Sunset Boulevard?
No, I watched it again recently.
I
though.
watched it for the first time
It's
like a month or
really
two ago.
fucking good.
That is such a weird movie.
That shot from underneath in the pool.
Yeah.
It's really cool while he's
That is
floating.
a weird movie,
It's
dude.
a good movie.
Yeah.
That's where Gordon Cole's name came from in
Oh,
Twin
really?
Peaks. Did you know that?
Oh,
There's a
funny.
character in there named
Yeah,
Gordon
yeah,
Cole.
yeah, yeah.
And that's David Lynch's character
Funny.
from the FBI in Twin Peaks.
I remember when I was watching it, I was like,
That one's better than Speed.
I should have
Oh, yeah,
done,
for
was
sure.
better.
I should have done
For
a
sure.
speed quote. Damn it. So
cans.
So
That's the best one.
Cans.
Cans.
It's just cans.
so many.
Hey, Wildcat.
So good.
Does he call her? Wildcats?
Tell that wildcat behind the wheel.
Yeah, tell that Wildcat behind the wheel. You could see us. Looks up at the camera. Speed. Technology does not work that way. Like when they're doing the like
The loop,
dubbing
yeah,
of the
dub
tape.
it so quickly.
So quickly, I'm
So
like, that
quickly.
would happen in real time. This is not how this works.
That would take
Whatever.
them 2 hours.
Yeah,
to do.
that would take them- yeah, and that-
at least.
That in that period of time, yeah, that would take forever.
Yeah.
But it's great. Whatever.
It's a fun.
Anyways.
The practical effects.
Yeah.
Are amazing in that. Blowing
Keanu
shit
is
up.
goat.
Yeah.
Keanu. I love Keanu.
Love Keanu.
And Sandra. It's Sandra's best
Sandra's
role.
Love
great
Sandra.
too.
She's really good in
If
that.
there are ever Keanu allegations, I say this all the time.
I will be hurt.
I will be destroyed.
I will be destroyed.
I really like Keanu a lot. I've looked closely
Uh-oh.
because I've dedicated a podcast
Here we
to
go.
him.
Yeah.
Don't hurt me.
He's made some fucked up jokes in the past. That's as bad. That's as bad as it
Okay.
gets. He seems like a
Who
cool
hasn't?
guy. Yeah, that's
Who
true.
hasn't?
Oh my god! If you saw my emails in college to
Oh,
friends,
yeah.
I made terrible.
When
jokes.
I was a kid, like in high school, like you just don't understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
We were all
Anyway,
kids.
he seems great.
I mean, like
I'm at the
there
point of
are
loving him.
there
right
are
now.
limits.
Yeah,
You
There
know,
are limits,
obviously
of
there are
course.
some jokes that are too bad. Like I'm not talking about like that kind of stuff.
But if you're like a preteen,
yeah. Weird vibes right now.
Keanu.
I feel like we're like excusing bad jokes, and that's not what
No,
we're
we're
doing.
not. We're not.
Just
At all.
We're
Keanu,
saying
I-
people can grow.
People can grow and
Exactly.
change. That's what we're saying.
Exactly.
That's what we're saying.
People should
If
grow.
someone-
People should grow and change.
Exactly.
Like, yeah,
Brought it back.
yeah.
There you go.
There we go.
Like we all went through a Fight Club phase when we were young men, possibly, and
We thought it was
grew
a cool
forward.
movie.
Yeah, where
Yeah,
we thought it
it's
was
not a
cool,
cool
and we
movie.
didn't realize it was we were the butt of the joke. And then you grow up and you're like, oh no, wait, okay, I was trash. Got it. I was wrong. Sure, got it. Yeah. Anyways, what the hell's going on anymore? Thank you for watching.
Heat stroke.
Check out Better Than Speed. Yeah, it's been very hot. This is a 2-hour podcast. Listen, some people say that this podcast should be more structured. I like that it's kind of a conversation.
Me too.
So
Stay in the moment. Stay
Stay
present.
in the moment. Stay
Yeah,
present.
yeah.
We're
I
gonna
like it.
jump around. We're gonna hear from some of the patrons, not all of them. We're gonna
But you
talk
love
about
them
random
all.
stuff. We love all of you.
Yeah.
We love if you made it this far into this insane podcast. We love you so much that it hurts inside.
Our love for you wrecks us.
Yeah, it wrecks us. But if you want to make sure this kind of insanity keeps happening, check out patreon.com/easyallies. Check out easyallies.com. We have a tier tied to this podcast. The $7 tier is the Easy Allies Film Club. For $7 a month or more, you get early access to the show when it comes up, and you also get in on the discussion topic. That's how I'm pulling these patron comments. They're a few weeks before we do the episode. I post the topic with some questions. It's very like collegiate sometimes. I realize like sometimes it's like kind of intense where I'm like, this is an assignment, you know? So if you like that kind of stuff, jump on in.
Homework.
No, but the comments are always really great. And like I read, fractions of what we get on there, and it's fantastic. So thank you everyone who contributes to that. Thank you, Matthew Walden, our
Yeah.
amazing guest.
I love this.
Thank you.
Thank you
Oh,
so
yeah.
much.
Well,
Highlight
we'll-
of my week.
Yeah, we'll be sure to have you back on
Yeah.
for sure. This was a blast. Huber, as always, beautiful. He's doing the pigman nose on the mic.
Honk honk.
Hong Kong. We got these new windscreens. Hopefully they weren't doing too many plosives into the mic. I think they're doing okay on it. They're not probably as good as the pop screens, but they don't cover our entire face. So
I've got a good Audacity filter. I'll hook you
okay,
up.
cool, yeah.
It just cuts them all out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I've got isotope stuff. I should probably throw them down on there too. Anywho, love you all. Thank you.
What are we doing next month?
Next month,
Heist films.
heist films.
Let's make it happen.
Let's make it happen. We're doing heist films next month.
Yep.
What's their assignment film? What should they watch coming in?
Rafifi, because
Rafifi,
a lot of
okay.
people probably have not seen it.
I've not seen it.
I think it's the best heist movie. It's
Okay.
older. It's an older one.
Wait,
It's
that's
like
not
the 50s.
Kurosawa, is it? No, I'm
Nah,
thinking
nah.
of
It's
from the 50s.
Yojimbo. Yeah, never mind.
It's from the 50s, a little slower,
Okay.
black and white,
Okay.
French,
Okay.
subtitles.
Sounds great.
The way
But
they
check
turn
it
off the alarms
out.
is cool.
Yeah, like such a cool movie.
All right.
Super cool.
Next month we're doing heist movies.
Yeah.
Your assignment film is Rafifi.
Mm-hmm.
Check it out.
Have you seen it?
No.
Dude, you're going to be pumped.
I'm excited to see
You're
it.
going to be pumped.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great.
Amen.
Amen.
Amen, brother.
All right. Till next month. See you then. Bye-bye.